Hello, everyone.
And no viewers. Oh, that was quick.
There's nobody here to see it happen.
Hi,
It's fine.
Sonia.
Hi, all. Anybody that happens to see whatever the hell that was, welcome back to Delinquents. It's been a month. Can you believe it? 30 whole days have passed since we last saw these individuals' faces upon this screen, unless you watch the VODs or, you know, the YouTubies, which... Yeah, I did the last one. Holy crap, it's been such a long time, I forgot if I'd put it up there. So, we are going to reunite you with your favorite characters here upon the screen by having them introduce themselves in whatever way they find fashionable and appropriate tonight. And then I will recap where we're at as we move into the game for this evening. As usual, we will begin at random, because randomness is pretty much all life is. Congratulations, you're going first. Beatrix, Gwen,
Thank God.
you're up.
Woo! Me? Really? Me? Hi, everybody. My name is Gwen, also known as McSherry, and I play Beatrix Muse, the eternally youthful-looking, if slightly cracked, navigator. We'll stick with navigator for the time being. I believe that the goal is to continue the Murloc, so... Thank you.
Well stated, and to you too. We'll move right along from there to Nora. Your turn.
Hello, I'm Nora. I will be playing your medic / aspiring captain, Clarion Bell. I'm also joined by my very insistent kitten tonight. In his honor, I say...
And from there, we'll move on to the armpit of Jackal, which is currently talking to us. Oh wait, there's the real Jackal. There we go.
I missed the armpit.
God, where corgi Murlocs? Who would have thought?
Hi folks, I'm Jackal. I play Conrad, the were-corgi, the wonderful, the beautiful, the crazy corgi butt with a death wish.
I mean, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Am I really that quiet?
You were. I had to volume.
You were.
You.
Yeah,
It's
I just
fine.
boosted you.
I just fixed. It's fine. We'll move right along from there over to Atomic and Sulfus.
I had a whole intro and everything. It's okay.
Oh, you had
Oh,
more
it's
to go?
perfectly fine.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize. I apologize.
No. On with the show. We gotta go. You're going. We're going. Selfish.
Okay, so.
Hey everybody, my name is Atomic Zero. I play Sulfus Aether Coil, the certifiably insane gnome Aether Mage, but to be more specific, the Servo Aether Mage, who is literally fighting demons and trying not to fully go into the dark side.
I think you meant Sparrow, but yeah.
Is it Sparrow?
It's
Oh,
Sparrow.
Servo.
Not
Sparrow.
Sparrow.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Svero. That one.
Sparrow.
I'm not going to argue with the game creator about how to pronunciate what you made, but...
pronounced in that way.
How dare you, you knave.
Duel. Fight. Moving on. Speaking of people arguing over nothing, Benjamin, you're up next.
Hey, everyone out there in TV land. I'm television's Ted Danson. You might recognize me from such hits as the Netflix original series The Good Place, winner of multiple Emmy Awards. Tonight, I'll be playing the role of Kristen Bell.
I can see the resemblance. I mean,
a little bit of let's see them play each other.
A Murloc trapped in the Good Place who has to disguise its identity as a murderer of adventurers. I'm TT Benjamin. You can find me on Twitter at TTBenjamin1. That was a fun intro, so I won't do the usual. And I'm playing Roland St. James September, who I originally wrote to be completely unflappable in his faith, and somehow Ty cracked me. So thanks. I've had a month to think about that.
It's okay. I'm good at cracking. And we'll move on from there, speaking of cracking people, to Kai.
What's up? My name's Kai. I play Loofah Oompa Loompa, the
Loofah.
classic elf that puts on their shoes one step at a time, like everybody else. Not cracking, not evil, not bad, and not distraught over his friend's disappearance. He's not. He's not at all.
Not distraught over someone that seemed to be getting along quite well with him. What happened? What happened? Why did he leave? Why did he steal your only current source of loot that you're aware of, anyway? And what is up with all of that? So last time on Delinquents, these chucklebutts all found their way off of a ship that they had been trying to, scupper, steal, take parts off of, make money. Salvage. Well, it wasn't
Pirate.
salvaging necessary, but pirating was really what was done. The attempt at pirating, but they were tricked. They were ousted. They were hoisted by their own petard by the being known as Ukurba, who had been setting up a trap for them ever since finding out where they were and being a little bit butthurt about them blowing up his station at Bezimini. It turned into a bit of a weird squid face thing, and everybody had to fight their way out, and they escaped, but they blew up the ship. And the only thing that was left behind dangling in the breeze was a skiff that could have been used for parts, could have been sold, happened to have a shield generator on it that was pretty dang good. Of course, when they brought the vessel in, very gently, mind you, not destroying the ship in any way.
Not at all.
The pieces and parts that were on it started being looked at greedily by Conrad, who then ended up taking the shield generator off of it. Then there was a bit of a face-off between Salfiz and Roland, as Roland had remembered some quite horrific details about the past, and very much had some difficult emotional feelings surrounding it, and about seeing the future, some emotional difficulties surrounding it, had decided to try to kill someone who had created a bad time in his past, trying to get Umbra just tossed into the void multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't quite work.
3 to be exact.
3 times. It didn't quite work. Umbra was able to escape that fate and make his way back to the ship. But we saw the winking tail lights as Roland zipped off into the void, and nobody was able to keep up with him or catch him. And as he was flying off into the void, we had seen a vessel approaching the Euclidean, looking like a merchant ship. A person that you had kind of pinged in an attempt to go sell some of your loot now seems to be arriving with you without a whole lot of stuff. Hopefully that doesn't go sideways. So Roland,
Some stuff.
we're going to start with you first. Aboard this vessel, this tiny little skiff, you know that you don't have a hell of a lot of distance you can travel. I mean, the fuel that was in this was supposed to be taken out and used on board the Euclidean to make sure that all the extraplanar spaces didn't collapse and crush everything on board the ship. But now you have it, so that's fine. You have enough life support systems to travel at least 4 weeks. Maybe 5 or 6 if you're very careful and hold your breath a lot, don't have to eat or pee. So, what do we see you do as you just zip away from the ship? Very obviously distraught, and very obviously, looking for something else.
So Roland pulls up the nav map and tries to figure out the where he can go in the limited amount of time that he has.
So your nav map pulls up a couple of locations: Outpost 332, Outpost 119, and Silver Shield.
119?
Yeah.
No, that'd be a lot of fun, but no. So knowing that there are 3 possible destinations, Roland pulls out from his overcoat a deck of cards, removes all of one's suit, removes all of the heart, shuffles it, and then is like, okay, station 119 is clubs. Station Silver
3, 2,
Shield
and Silver
is
Shield.
yeah. So like that, shuffles it and pulls one and looks at it.
All right. You want me to roll for you?
Let me see here. Hold on. Draw a random card.com.
Is that a thing?
I searched it and there it is.
Heart.
Oh, I know it lets me remove hearts. Are you kidding me?
There you
Amazing.
go.
Yeah.
I drew a club.
So, you didn't
That
say what
means-
everything was. Only 119 was.
119 was spades, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Silver Shield was clubs, and the other one was diamonds.
All right. So you push in the coordinates for Silver Shield, and just start heading in that direction.
Yes. Roland kind of mutters to himself about how randomness is anathema to the path, and so in his mind, he is trying to see if he takes a randomly determined course, if that throws it off.
Okay. So give me what this looks like from inside the cockpit as you're traveling for some time off in this direction. What is Roland doing? What is he? Is he talking to himself? Is he writing things down? Because you've got a lot of time on your hands now. If you've ever sat inside of a room, like a very tiny room, unable to move for like a week straight.
Probably the first like few days, maybe even the first week, Roland is able to just spend most of that time meditating and sort of like conserving personal energy. So he doesn't have to eat much. He doesn't really have to sleep much. I mean, he's partially powered by eternal energy anyway. But then eventually he starts to get stir crazy. And as the weeks go on, like he starts by like muttering sermons to himself. And then as the days drag on, they kind of just sort of get louder and louder until the point where his sermons resemble someone having a shower argument with God.
Well, so we'll play this out. So on the first few days, very easily you're able to just kind of handle this and kind of hum. You have a little device to the side that dispenses what life support food substances you can get. You've got like air purifiers and stuff going, and all of your readouts are kind of showing you what locational positions you're in, that kind of thing. But you're not picking up any radio signals. The stars around you are silent, basically, as you're flying through this void. They're so far away that they seem like they're in the same places at all times. It looks like nothing is happening other than the fact that you can tell that you're traveling because your velocity continues to increase over time as using this device. Half of every trip inside of an Aether ship is increasing velocity, and the other half is decreasing it. So as you are traveling, we see a few days kind of flip by. Time seems to pass. It becomes a little bit nebulous as we switch to a view on Roland from one direction, and then another, and then another, and then another. Everybody that's out there watching recognizes these are multiple days passing, but it all seems to look the same. Although the entire time, Roland starts to look a little more disheveled every time. His hair starts getting a little ratty. He like takes off his bandana because it like the sweat has gone sticky to his forehead. Without the ability to shower or bathe over the course of multiple weeks in a very confined space. The suit and the equipment just ends up in different spots around the cabin. We see his. Do you have facial hair grow? You're an elf. You don't have to, but you could.
No, yeah, he does. No, he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't grow any facial hair whatsoever. I think at a certain point he's taken like all of his equipment and sort of like hung it up across the viewports just so that he can look at something other than the same stars for a little while.
So kind of staring at these things, you get sensory deprivation to start to kick in, and you begin to hallucinate slightly. As you're sitting there, you hear the sound of a scream in the distance, and then the sound of a sermon. Then you hear the sound of your parents, and you wonder where all this is coming from. You start to realize that with so little interaction, that your subconscious is filling the empty spaces with things that are existing within it.
Ooh. There's one of two ways Roland could take this, and I'm trying to think of which one. at a certain point, it probably becomes too much. He probably starts to hear himself talking to himself. Like, as he's sermoning, maybe like a day later, he hears the same sermon, like, back over to him. Or maybe he starts to, like, see Eternals where there aren't any. Or maybe he even has a conversation with his father who is not there.
So after a few days, we see Roland sitting there and just kind of scratching at his head and kind of blinking for a second. Give us a couple of things you say to start, and then we'll finish the scene out for the moment.
It's like this. It's not the rock. It's the river. No, you're not listening. It's not the rock. The water goes over the rock, you see, and on one side it moves slower.
Roland.
What?
Roland.
What? Now, I'm trying to explain it.
You're explaining it wrong, son.
What do you? No, it's this. I've done this before.
You know, it's not the rock in the river. It's the curvature of the rock in the river.
That's what I'm trying. I'm trying to tell you. It's on one side of the rock, where the water's going. No, where it's coming from. Where the water is coming from on one side of the rock. That's where it moves slow, and then after the rock, it goes fast. So the whole point of the sermon is that your obstacles propel you. The whole point.
You gotta devise the sermon. You gotta create it as a tool, and then you bounce it across the water. You don't block the flow.
You can't bounce. Wait, are you? Hold on. Are you saying that the sermon is a metaphor for the rock, but the rock is already a metaphor for the obstacles in our lives?
Except the obstacles in our lives are never static. They're constant. They're changing and they're chaotic.
And it's the water that pushes you into them.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like that. So the stone. Shit.
Most
So
people don't contain the information continually, Roland. They let it go. And when it goes, the stone no longer exists for them. The stone skips out of the water.
The stone. What the hell are you talking? The stones don't skip out of the water. They stay there. All right. Some people, when they've got a problem with a metaphor, they're saying to themselves, "Oh, I can play with them. Oh, the rocks aren't actually this, the this, and that." But you've decided to defy the laws of physics just to ruin a simple man's metaphor. I'm trying to teach something here.
Appears
What?
to be incorrect. Your sermons and your belief are not what you expect or think them to be.
That's not. They're not perfect. It's obvious. The path which can be spoken is not the true path. Like it's just you're supposed to talk around it. You can't actually say anything about it directly because it's not.
That's the problem. You don't know, so.
Oh, and you do?
The voice like goes silent at that point, and you feel like you just won an argument.
That's right. Anyway, what I was trying to say. Wait, are you still there?
Vessel, are you there? You happen to be approaching at much too rapid a speed. The velocity is too high at the moment.
No,
Your
what I
radio,
was
like-
trying to explain to you, what I'm trying to explain is that the rock is a metaphor.
Vessel, you are approaching much too fast. You're going to bounce like a rock across the surface.
Right, that's what I'm saying. When the water is faster on the other side of the rock.
You are going to become a pile of ash if you don't slow down now.
So are we all. We're all destined to become ash. What's important is how you ride the rapids.
Oh,
Thank
God,
you.
Please
Finally.
prepare the emergency team.
Wait, what? Wait, hold on. What?
You like
And then Roland finally looks at his display.
Roland looks at the display, pulls away some clothes, and you see Silver Shield's ground approaching very rapidly.
Oh, I'm gonna do a slingshot maneuver. I'll be landing in probably a half a day.
And you like just suddenly turn direction. You see flames like lick up the outside of the vessel as you go through the atmosphere temporarily, and then you start moving up and around the edge of it, trying to come back to come and land in again.
Anyway, have you ever heard the metaphor of the rock and the river? We've got a couple of hours. Keep the channel open.
Care. Can you please just make sure you don't do that again? We wouldn't want to have to clean up your debris. It is going to take way too much time, create a bunch of paperwork I don't want to have to deal with, not to mention carting your dead ass around.
Oh, don't worry. If I fall through that, there'll be nothing left to cart. Don't worry. I'm back. No, it's fine. I'll get it all linked up. Anywho, so the notion of the path, people often ask me.
Channel's being disconnected.
Eh.
And the scene fades out at that moment from Roland. And we go back to a few weeks later, or earlier, where we see the Euclidean pulling up in front of, being approached by another vessel. So as it gets closer and closer to your viewport, you hear a voice come up over the comms.
Excuse me? Are you the Euclidean? You said you had some cargo that you wish to have purchased. Is that correct?
Yeah, that would be correct.
Excellent. We'll begin some docking maneuvers shortly to connect up to you. If you can just slow down a little bit, we'll come right alongside. My boss and our enforcers will come on over and we'll start working, doing some business with you.
You all right?
Leifei?
Click. Yeah.
Didn't Rolly, take off with most of the stuff we were gonna sell?
Yeah, he did. Wait, we have the shield generator, right?
It's currently
Yeah, I
broken.
think Conrad took it out.
Connie, baby, you're saving me.
Meanwhile, in the engine room where the ship was originally, Conrad is just going away at the bag. Just boom, 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 boom. Never should have trusted him. I knew he was bad from the start. The kid would have been a better line of work to trust. Punches the bag off. Bag goes flying. Goes over to a chest, opens the chest, disables the mine underneath the chest, disables the flintlock inside of the chest, moves the decoy aside, and takes out the shield generator. Okay.
Clarion's got a
Yes.
workspace nearby and is just watching this incredibly skeptically.
What?
All right.
You've never seen ridiculous happen?
I've seen ridiculous happen quite often with this crew.
Why the hell are you still with them?
I... habit.
No, seriously. Why the hell are you still with them? You've got a captain that can't make decisions. The first mate is a child. At least, they act like a child. And you're falling in with a preacher who's clearly got some sort of shady ulterior motives. But who am I to talk? My boss sees ghosts.
They offer the greatest freedom that I have encountered in any of my lines of work. I own myself, and I work for myself.
No gods, no masters.
It is true, Conrad,
Precisely.
that you know that automatons have no rights because they're robots and they're malfunctioning if they don't do their jobs.
Ty, narrative question, yes or no? Did Conrad ever work with automatons before?
I'll leave that up to you. I mean, on Myocenas, they're not very common.
I've worked with one automaton before, and they were nothing like you.
I have been traveling for 10 years on my own, and I have developed many quirks. I'd like to think that I have a personality.
Well, you certainly got it programmed in. Okay, so we have no ship, but we have collateral.
We have something to sell. And she
We
looks
do.
at the generator.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep the kid as far away as possible because I'd like to keep the number of small ones smeared across the pavement to 16. Does that make any sense?
It sounds like you have prior history.
Prior bloody history.
Don't we all?
So, who's going to represent our crew? When they bring the boss on board, they're going to bring all hands and they're going to make a show of force. And when they make a show of force, we need to be there beating our chests and screaming out in terror.
Do we?
Or-
Normally, I would assign the child, as you say, to be our face, since she is charismatic and disarming.
And so is an anti-tank round to the chest.
Do you
That's-
have an anti-tank round?
I have 3. I keep them on a necklace.
Do I see that?
You can't see a necklace on him because of the way his armor sits, so who knows?
In my medical scans, have I ever seen that?
No.
I somehow think you are lying, or that you've kept this incredibly well concealed.
What can I say? I'm a merc of many talents, but that's besides the point. So they're going to bring on their shock troopers, and then they're going to bring on their flunkies, and last but certainly not least, they're going to bring on their boss, probably going to have someone right next to her. That's going to be the person that we talk to first.
We are
Then
limited
we
on
go-
space. I don't know how many they could feasibly bring aboard without putting some of us on their ship.
5, including the boss.
Very well. That is equal numbers.
So they're probably going to get upset when they find out that the thing we're here to sell them is not here. And they're either going to
We're
take the
not
ship or
going
kill
to
us
tell
all.
them that, though.
No,
That
we're
would
not.
be...
That's why I want the kid out of there.
She won't tell them that if we tell her not to tell them that. She can lie consistently. I have seen her do it.
That's terrifying. What are we going to do about the captain, but not really?
We'll let him palaver.
Excuse me?
Just let him do his thing. He's mostly harmless.
Mostly harmless.
Mostly harmless, my matted tail. He turned an 8-foot an 8-foot Lesren shock trooper into Swiss cheese.
That's why I said mostly.
Sometimes I wonder if that Amos guy was for your protection or theirs. That's
Both.
besides the point. Do we know who
Both.
we're working with?
Good question, do we?
Nobody's confirmed who you're working with. It's just a merchant group that had been on the register.
Okay. So, how good are you with the ship's layout and diagnostics?
I am as fluent as can be expected, given the length of time that I have had to familiarize myself with it.
So, do you know about that backdoor insertion port underneath the sink that's over by where we tossed out the bodies? Or, no, wait, that wasn't you. That was someone else.
Whoops.
You'll
But
forgive me.
Do I? Did I notice it?
No.
No, I haven't.
Girl, you need more time in meat space. Okay, so he removes.
Was that an attempt at flirting?
That was. I didn't notice. Anyways,
Ah, I think I'm getting the hang of this.
he removes the head of the sink. Surprisingly, no water squirts out because it's a fake sink, and there's a jack leading into the system. Little back door. Very helpful.
I see. And you are suggesting that I be plugged in here in case we need to make a quick getaway, without the captain, quote-unquote, being seen manipulating the controls?
No, just in case they decide to get a little wanderlust and decide to go for a brisk stroll on the outside of our hull, you could maybe... What is the term? Mess with them. Taunt them. Kill them. Show them that we're not to be messed with.
So, you're saying that in case there are...
Shenanigans.
Yes, I see. But what did you call them? Toughs? Heavies?
Thugs. Punks.
Thugs on the outside of our ship. What reason would they have to be on the outside of our ship?
Surround us, disable us, cut us off, Clearly, you've never
Should
been in a
I-
firefight before.
Simply be posted out there? Are our sensors not good enough?
Depends. Could be a merchant vessel, could be some sort of DAD spec ops team, could be mom just out getting cookies and decided she wanted a spaceship for her third son. I don't know.
I see.
We don't know.
Well, if any grandmas adopt us, I'll be sure to trade recipes.
That's a good point to have that scene fade as we move to Sylphis. You are walking up the halls right now, kind of heading away from that position. Someone had just tried to take your life multiple times, which is just another Thursday, really, but still.
Yeah, it's kind of average news at this point.
You haven't seen the look that was in Roland's eyes in a long time, though. Someone who was slighted by you directly at some point. Someone that hated you with that kind of inner rage that comes from tragedy, rather than just the fact that you're a DAD agent, a Sparrow, or some asshole that's trying to murder them with dark death magics.
Yeah, the like a peek inside the hood of Sulphus is the funny part is the time at which that occurred is the whole reason why Sulphus is in his current state. So it just adds to the self-destruction that's going on internally. But the conversation was never had prior to the whole trying to kill me thing.
So as you're standing there kind of walking through this hall and thinking a little bit about what happened, you see the shadows start rising up around you at every side. Some of them are pointing at you. You see faces that seem to be dripping tears of blood that turn into black smoke as they hit the floor and kind of fade away. Others begin rising around you and start moving in your direction. You haven't been pulled down by them in a long time, but it seems like that's what they're attempting. As they get closer to you, you're the one.
You're the one.
You bear all of this death.
Lets out a long sigh, takes another sip of his tea, and just kind of, for once, he's not actually trying to fight it. He's just kind of like wading into it and just letting it wash over them.
You see shadows just start pouring onto Sulphis, and as he just sits there, they're just kind of pulling at him. You see black marks like appear across his skin temporarily, across his eyes and his face, little tears in the skin that like heal rather quickly, but appear there nonetheless temporarily. After a moment or two of this, Sulphis, you see all the shadows kind of back up very quickly, and a small figure like rises up out of the mist in front of them and just kind of looks at you with one beady red eye.
You're eating death.
And you're new, so we're both at a loss here.
Indeed. I've been watching you for a while now. You humor me.
I get that a lot.
Do you?
Well, yeah, when you're practically talking to things that are and are not there, various people either laugh at you or run away, so typically humoring someone is probably the best outcome I can have.
So the figure, whatever it is, kind of rises up again, being a little taller than you, but not by much. You see some of the shadows nearby just kind of get shook into his body as he kind of moves forward. You see the little screams from them as they get absorbed into him. And as he walks a little closer to you and sits down, like at a little table nearby.
Come, sit down. Let's have a conversation.
Is there any way that like I could figure out through like the fact that the chair shifted or that there was weight put on the chair, like that this person is real versus a shadow versus a memory?
You could try. Give me an aware roll.
Oh, this will be great. Hey, actually not bad.
16. So the first thing that you sense is something very strange has just happened. This feels like what had occurred when you were on board the ship, when everybody kind of had those temporal anomaly things go on. The being itself, as it sits down in front of you, seems to be a manifestation of power of some kind. It is not just one of your madness shadows.
Can I interest you in a cup of tea, or do you not drink in this form?
I have not drank in some time. No.
That would explain why you're so taunt in the face. You know, hydration really loosens up the skin. But you know what?
Sophis like takes a seat across from them. He's more intrigued about A, that this is new, and then B, it's infecting the shadows. So his curiosity it's kind of like a curiosity, but also strategic. He's kind of going into the mode where he dealt with very unusual beings in his DAD days.
As you sit down and kind of stare at this thing, and you're getting that tension feeling, like ready to act at any moment that you need to. And the being just looks at you.
No, don't tense up. It's okay. So, you happen to be someone with an itch that needs scratched all the time, it seems.
Well, it depends on which itch you're talking about, but yes. I am a person of, let's just say, a very defined pursuit that requires a lot of moving parts.
I know. I've been there before. You seek to defeat those idiots within the Empire. They call themselves the DAD. I hear you call it out in your sleep on occasion. Sorry, but I've been watching.
The fact that I scream, it's pretty normal that people overhear me, so, you know. When you speak to shadows, you don't really know who is or isn't, so people could just randomly hear various secrets or monologues, so, no offense taken whatsoever. I mean, the fact that, I've floated around in the void for a while, you gotta get used to weird things, listening in, watching, and talking.
Of course. Nothing ever gives you the privacy you might desire. I get it. But we still can be civil about these things, can't we?
Well, I haven't tried to dissolve your skin yet, so I feel like I'm being civil.
It's alright, I don't have any skin for you to dissolve anyway. I lost that some time before. You see, I, unfortunately, befell a very painful situation with some DAD operatives. They seem to have decided I did not any longer deserve a body. Go figure.
Yeah, go figure. So, are you technically a disembodied, guilty conscience of mine, or are you actually just a wandering soul or life form of some form?
Let's call us allies by extension of intention. You and I both seek
very well
to destroy that which should not be. Wiping out our kind, of course. Murdering our children. Murdering other people's children and loved ones and all that crap. But I have secrets that I think I can provide to you that will benefit your ultimate goal. You hope to destroy their main headquarters, yes? You happen to have tried and failed to receive the parts of a device that you were attempting to gather to blow them up. Is that not right?
For the first time in a long time, Sophis gets deathly serious and quiet, staring deep down into the cup, into his mug.
Firstly, I was not like you. I became like you. I originally got into this to hunt things like you. The DAD lost their way, and now kills on the wrong path. That is why I became what I am. Do not immediately lump us in as the same thing. But yes, I concur with your statement. I do wish to vanquish them. I do wish to do it in a very explosive manner. And I do wish to do it sooner rather than later. Whether I die trying or not is not nearly as important as the DAD itself has to start over.
Excellent. You see, I was once like you. Living, of course, but also someone who could control the elements, could control the powers of the universe. And it decided that we should be able to touch upon death. No, it is an aspect of life. It is part of the circle. It is part of being. And controlling it could have meant so much more for everyone. I enjoyed it too much at times, unfortunately. I blew my own cover, and they hunted me down like a beast. There is a object, let's leave it at that, located just outside of Scamatch, on Silver Shield. Something that is a remnant of the Great War. I gathered in strength and power a great deal by finding this object and finding my own capabilities increased tenfold by them. I murdered so many in my youth, unconsciously wielding these powers without knowing how. A blade with an edge spinning. I was not the capable scalpel that you could be. Someone with experience, not likely to be overwhelmed by the power that they get. I can help you.
What kind of power are you speaking of? Are you talking about... He does like the whole like red pill, blue pill thing where he lights up like fire in his one hand for elemental and then basically has like a miasma of decay on the other hand. Like his two sides of his Aether background.
As he like reaches over and his hands get near the dangerous side, the deathly side of your hand, you see it spark to life as green flares just kind of go off towards the ceiling, as if fuel on a fire.
Sulphurs, we both know where your path leads in the future. I could not have spoken with you otherwise. You and I could be partners in this destruction. We can bring unholy vengeance upon those that have damned so many others, unapologetically.
It takes like a long while to actually like stop and think and like ponder, just like literally just like stare at them just to feel them up a little bit, and takes another sip of his tea.
Very well. I will. Let's just. I am curious. I am interested. And this is an alliance I wish to see through for the time being. That much I can promise. I cannot promise much after that. But if we are two people of one mind, that I am willing to walk this path with you until the deed is done.
Excellent. Then we shall have a partnership, an agreement here on the path to retribution.
Just one condition.
What is that?
Can you normally make the shadows disappear when you are around?
Yes.
Can you do that when you are not?
I could attempt it if you wish.
Not often. Just maybe a day a week, an hour a day, an hour a week, something.
I
The
can
amount
agree
of
to
time
that.
I have been lucid and or sleep is feigning with my age as well as my fall into these pools of darkness, and being able to think clearly would be, I think, paramount to both of our goals.
Thinking clearly.
Yeah, that's a
We don't
novel
want you
idea,
to go
isn't
as
it?
mad as I was. No, not at all. That would be uncouth.
Well, I'm sitting here definitely talking with you, so I feel like I'm not that far away from it already.
In the future, as you approach Silver Shield, things may become more difficult for you. If you need my aid,
Okay.
just call out to me. My name is Adira.
Adira.
Give me a brains roll, please.
Sure.
And with that, I will see you again once you
Nat
get closer
20.
to our distance.
Bam!
With a nat 20. Do you either know some of this being's weaknesses in case you have to deal with that in the future? Or do you know this being's true identity?
Ooh. I want to know their true identity.
All right. This being that you happen to have seen, for it evaporated into smoke around you and the shadows faded with it from the room, was known as Adira Burnside, the Jester of Scamanch. A being that happened to have absorbed a huge amount of energy and basically nuked a city by itself. The DAD hunted this thing for years, and until it was finally caught by one Caleb Wesley, an ex-DAD agent who was sent to maximum security prison on Silver Shield. Having escaped, seemed to have killed himself in some sort of unknown circumstance, but was rumored to have held the spirit of Adira within himself for a great deal of time.
As this kind of washes over me, I think Sophus is just gonna sit at the table for a very long time, and just for once, just not think or not talk, and just actively just sit there, not brood, but think and strategize and reflect. If anyone did come over, it's almost as if they're actively looking at someone, not thinking or looking off into space. They actually seem like they're staring at someone in the opposite chair.
So, B, at this moment, you've been sitting there with Leifei, you're waiting for this mercenary group to come in and dock, and you happen to have felt something strange for a minute. It's like spiders were crawling across your back. And after a little while, it seems to fade away, but not without, at first, a little pinprick of pain down your spine. Zep seems to have been mysteriously absent for a period. And as you turn, you can see Self is sitting at a table by himself with a little cup of tea.
B will wander over.
Okay. D comes over to the table you're sitting at, Self is, to see you.
We haven't talked much, but I can't help but feel that you're the reason I feel like I should be taking a shower now.
Do you wish to narrow that down, dear? Because, frankly, there's so many reasons that could be true.
That's fair. Right now it's because I felt like spiders were wandering all over me, and then I hurt. Which seems to be in your realm.
It is. Could this have anything to do with potentially a rogue spirit potentially communicating with me that also manifests the dark death magic that I practice?
Oh, that makes sense then. Is there anything that the crew should know about this? You haven't sold our souls or anything, right?
I only ever intend to sell my own, but I feel like it's already been cashed out.
That's fair.
No, it's something that I would bring up to the crew in the sense that I do wish to travel somewhere right now, and for the sake of personal gain on my own personal goals. But that is where it ends.
Fair. Is there gain for us as well?
There might be, if all of you want to go to Silver Shield for any different reason. Frankly speaking, it would make me potentially more powerful,
which would potentially allow me to destroy the DAD. And if the crew could benefit from that for any other various reasons, well, then it potentially could be a win-win for the rest of us. But as I have been completely outspoken about before, the path I currently walk until the day I die has been very selfish in the fact that for many years, many years, I have been my own agent. And for once, I am now surrounded by people who I'm about 70% sure are actually real. So, it is a change for me.
That's fair. I can understand that. It's weird to be around people when you're not around people.
Oh,
May
yeah,
I-
especially when some of them try to kill you almost a couple days after you meet them, you know. It's one of the reasons why it reinforces why you should be, you know, alone. Because, frankly speaking, I have probably more chance to kill myself than most people, so...
Fair. That's just Rolly, though. You'll get used to him. May I boop your nose?
My dear, I haven't been asked that in years. Sure. Why
Thank
not?
you. Boop.
He's got a big squishy nose with a large bit of cartilage within that kind of rolls like a ball at the tip.
Ooh. That's a good nose.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's mine, so, you know.
So at this
Alright.
point, as the two of you share that moment, we hear the click of the docking equipment connecting to the back end of the vessel. So
I
what
kinda
do the two
hold
of you do there?
I hold my finger up to Beatrix and is like, I apologize for cutting our conversation off short, my dear, but there's a very strong likelihood that I might have to dissolve a bunch of people in the near future, so I'm just gonna wander on back to the entry hatch.
That's fair. I'll come along and I can push them out the hatch.
There you go. Yeah, feel free. I feel like I need some more personal connections.
Okay. So you head back towards the docking, the hold basically, where it's going to connect to the docking equipment. Leife, are you still flying, or did you just stop it for now and head back as well?
Slowing it down. He heard a bit of what Conrad was saying earlier, so he's going to be the one that approaches last as captain.
All right. So you approach last as captain, and we have the other two inside the hold, Conrad and Clarion, standing there as the door just starts to like open up as the crew comes in the back. You happen to see a couple of large, muscled-looking individuals carrying heavy weaponry standing beside a smaller figure. As the figure walks into the room, we see them here, thus. There is a younger-looking woman, dark hair, covered in tattoos, a dangerous look in her eyes, covered in a series of injuries at various places, showing that she's been through quite a bit. No nonsense. She looks over, immediately sees Conrad. Conrad, your ex-girlfriend is here.
Fuck.
Oh, no.
You...
Oh, god damn it, it's you.
Why are
You're
you...
alive?
Yes, I am alive. No thanks to you, Conrad.
Well, excuse me, princess. You took a cannon round directly to the chest. You
Yeah,
explained to me how you're still around after all that?
I'm stronger than you ever thought I was. I am no crystal daisy like you kept trying to push me into the Look, I am not
I was
here
your bodyguard. I was supposed to be the one to take that bullet.
I am not going to argue with you or discuss anything with you. Are you the one in
Okay,
charge?
fine,
Because if
fine,
such, I'm not
fine.
going
What
to
brings
deal
you
with
here?
this ship.
What brings you
This
here?
is my merchant vessel. I'm here to trade.
In fact, he is not the one in charge.
That would be me. Hi, pleasure to meet you. Ashante, mademoiselle. I am Sophis Aether Coil, captain of the Euclidean. Pleasure to meet your acquaintance.
She like narrows her eyes as she looks over at you. Evonia Alden. And is it Aether Coil? Self is
That is correct. Yes.
as in recently expunged from the DAD. Self is Aether Coil.
Oh, yes, he might also know me as Umbra, various, vanquishers of various, worlds and planets and peoples, and I found myself with this motley crew. Of course, you know my close companion, Conrad over here. Everyone else is more of a recent acquisition.
Hi, I'm Bee, and I really like your tattoos.
Child.
This
really.
is Beatrix.
You find yourself in the company of children, babysitter on this small ship. How do you deal with that nonsense?
She might look like that, but, appearances can be deceiving.
Of course, yes, of course they can.
Well, I don't mean to intrude, but, would I interpret the energy between you and Conrad as in you would probably laugh if he had some kind of bodily injury?
I would more just be meh about that.
Okay, well, I was gonna say, well, this one actually chucked him across an alleyway.
I'm not here for small talk, even though
All
it
right,
might
yep,
be
yep, of
humorous
course.
as it is. And
that's
at that point,
right to
Leifei
business.
comes walking down after Sulfus has introduced himself as the captain. What do you say, Leifei?
Hello. It's I, Captain Leifei Ariane. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Captain, is there some sort of dual partnership captainage?
What? This
that
is
I'm-
I'm captain of the ship. He's captain of the extended crew. So like,
Ivonia, you remember that group that supposedly killed like a DAD bounty hunter or something?
Can you just shh for the rest of existence?
That's them.
Hi.
Okay, fine.
You killed the bounty hunter?
Well, I mean, it was Red Iron, but we were all there, yeah.
One of our number, yes.
It was Red Iron.
Well, that's interesting. Now you have something to trade value, I suppose, being individuals who are so capable and containing a crew of 5 with 2 captains.
You'd think that.
What do you have for me? I'm tired of having my time wasted.
do we have a Conrad?
Conrad doesn't open their mouth. He just stares daggers at Ivonia.
We have a.
Clarion takes the shield generator from Conrad.
Suddenly just like
And
wrenching it
offers
out of his
it.
hands for a second.
No, she pauses for a second and just gives him a look like, I'll take this.
Okay. So removing that from his hands, she looks over at it. D&D make. That's actually an Empire shield generator for a small vessel. Does it work?
Yes, I've checked it myself.
I have to apologize, but I can't just take your word at things. I mean, you are traveling with pirates and him.
Understandably.
Can we
Hey, we're
have-
not pirates anymore.
Beatrice, we literally just tried to steal something from a ship not too recently, so.
Okay. Well, we're not official pirates. But yeah, okay.
Okay,
We're pirates.
there you go.
So we will need an inspector to look at that and determine how well it is operational and isn't some sort of elaborate fraud like Conrad.
Of course.
Bring him aboard.
So I know that we played out a scene where Clarion was going to make sure that it worked once,
Mm-hmm.
but then she was talked out of it by someone, so I feel like she did actually spend the scrap to repair it.
Okay, so if you did spend the scrap, give me a brains roll so we can just determine how well you repaired it.
Okie dokie.
That's not great. Ace, all right. 14's better. 14's better. So, or if you're okay with that, we'll see what happens. You are muted.
How much scrap would that have spent?
That would have spent 12 scrap for that minor repair.
It would be a 15 because we Clarion got a +1.
There was a +1, yes. There was a +1
That's true.
granted. Beatrix, you're granted an ace. Everybody else is granted a +1, it looks like. From Adral Mech out there in the audience. Okay, so if you're all right with the 14, you hand it off, and you see one of her crewmate kind of move forward wearing these goggles and high-tech gear. They grab it, and they kind of move into their ship a little bit, where you can see them put it down on a table and begin tinkering with it. Ivania turns and goes, "This vessel itself, this is
Not
this
for
is
sale.
DAD tech as well, is it not?"
Well, yes, this was given to me from the DAD. I was there the day it was christened.
Given to you. So, how
Well,
many?
first it was given, then taken, so...
How many of your secure access codes have not been compromised?
Are you looking to purchase some of those codes, or are you just asking?
Might be interested in procuring a few of them. After all, we do have some reason to have them for our own, let's just say, interests. Now, do you have any that work or not?
Well, I do believe I tried one of the many codes that I have memorized in the ship that this came from, and they did in fact work. So I know of at least one that is still active in some capacity. I could bestow upon you the other codes that are uncertain as of this moment if it would help this business arrangement take form.
The Kalisa, a cartel, would greatly appreciate any additional codes that you could provide us. Of course, you have to realize that if you don't have them guaranteed, they won't make quite as much. I mean, these are untested codes.
Perfectly understandable, and I completely understand your position with all this, which is why I say the best I could do is one that I know still works. All the rest would just be, we'll just call them wild cards right now.
Well, if you would provide us with those codes very quickly, transfer them over to our vessel, and we will compensate you. Let's say 10,000 for the first code, and the extras that are untested, I'll give you 1,000 each.
Umbra.
Would Umbra know whether or not that's a decent deal?
Give me a
he's been-
brains roll. Let's see.
Because he's been in like the Sifty side of the world for a while now. I'm gonna ace that.
All right, you don't want to use an 11? Another 11? You
That's better,
about a
and
20?
that's
All right.
I got 21 because of the +1.
So if you had a verifiable working DAD security clearance code, you could get into a lot of places that maybe you shouldn't be. Smugglers would really love that. Some assassins or, back alley dealers would as well. So a $10,000 price tag for it is probably on the low side. And it's mostly because Avonia doesn't actually trust you. You can get that amount of information out.
And just for my sake, ballpark, how many codes do I have locked up in here? Because I know I have one that works.
There would have been 15 installed in every one of the DAD vessels as they travel out.
Okay.
They cycle through them. You're pretty sure like the first 5 were burned. If you remember, you only had like the 6+. So you've got about 9 codes left, but you don't know which
one
ones
works.
Work. Yeah.
So I know 1 out of 9 works basically.
Yep.
Okay.
And are you going to keep any for yourself just in case?
Well, that's the thing. It's just
How about this, my Ivania? For the one that does work, 15,000. For every code after that you wish to buy, since they are, of course, uncertain, we can leave it at 1,000. And if you wish to buy the lot, we'll call it an even 20.
And half money up front.
Give me a charming roll to see how good you are at bargaining here.
Oh yeah, I'm extremely charming. Yep, that's about right. 3.
3. How about you? If you're gonna have a 3, you're gonna have to give me something that sounds really bad and is almost insulting and might end up causing her to be not happy with you.
Okay.
You know what? How about this? For the code that does work, 30,000. And for the rest of it,
Umbra is
because you've...
given an ace by Annika to reroll.
Okay. Charming. This is not points well spent. I'm just gonna let you know.
17. Nice.
Thank you, Annika.
She looks over at you. With a 17, she'll counteroffer, but she will still kind of lean in your direction.
Mhm.
So, for the working code, yes, I will agree to the aforementioned terms, 15,000. And of course, we'll slit your throat if you lie to us or if this doesn't actually work in the future. For the others, however, if we want to buy the entire lot, how many do you even have? You haven't described how many codes you have.
Well, I have, out of the 15 codes that I know were on this vessel, 5 I know are burned, so there's no point in discussing them. So that would leave 10. One of those is good. The other 9, I'm unsure of at this moment. I haven't had my chance to be in front of a legitimate security console in quite some time. So there's 1 that's good and 9 that you can basically play around with if you wish to buy.
So then 9,015. So for the entire lot, you were saying 20,000.
Let's just call it a show of good faith for future business. Because, in fact, some of those may not work.
I will give you 19,000 then.
19,000, and I keep 2 of the codes.
18,000, and you keep 2 of the codes.
I look around at the crew, the rest of the crew, to see if like nods or shakes.
Half up front.
Conrad doesn't say anything. Conrad is watching for something suspicious.
It's just like,
Layface just bobbing his head.
Looks at Clarion.
Clarion has no idea of the value of this kind of thing. Like, it just genuinely has not come across this before.
Sophis extends a hand out.
She like looks at yours and extends her hand and grasps it. With surprising strength, she shakes your hand.
Deal. And now that we have some business out of the way, would you like to bring your representative on board to check out our shield generator that goes along with this lovely package we're putting together?
You see the shield generator like bang onto the floor right in front of Ivania. All checked out, seems to work fine. And she looks at it and goes, "We've already done that." Now this piece of hardware, we'll give you 7,000 for.
I would, since I am not a tech person, I would look at Conrad or Clarion to see if they know if that's a decent price or not.
Give me
7,000 on the civilian market. 950 final offer.
10.
Deal.
No, 10 silver if you're gonna give me offers.
Take it or leave it.
We didn't need it after all. We got the codes anyways. She like kicks it forward.
Very well. The ship...
Really? You'd leave it a good salvage on the floor just to spite an ex?
She would.
Yes, I
He
would.
says to her quietly.
I do not take kindly to those that betray me, and I do not forgive.
Noted.
Miss Alden, I am optimistic that the ship that was once married to this generator may come back into our possession sometime in the future. If that were to become a whole package, could we potentially drop you a line when that becomes available, or would you
We
just not be
can-
interested?
Reach that moment when it arrives. You
Very
have
well.
you have our connection code. You can of course reach out to us in the future. The cartel is always around.
Very well.
And Sophis would go through the motions of, passing over the codes and whatever it is.
All right, so you transmit them without taking the half first. Is that what I'm hearing?
No.
Well, I
Bea
thought
will put her-
Beatrice. Yeah, that's what I was assuming that we were doing the half up front since Beatrix was doing the whole.
So as you're
Bea
standing
will
there,
put her foot down.
Ivonia turns and like nods her head to some of her crew, and you see them like go back into the ship. They come out with a couple of chests that they just thunk thunk onto the deck, as there happens to be half of your agreed upon rate there. So
Sophis
9,000
opens up one of the
silver.
chests and like looks at it, does like the whole like picks up one of the coins, it's like, and just like.
Silver
"Mm."
doesn't dent like that.
No, but
Bea
in
will
his mind-
legitimately check, though.
Yes. Looking at it, you can tell it's real.
Okay. So go through the motions to complete the transaction.
All right. So
Can-
you transmit
wait.
the codes. They don't betray you, and they do bring over the other 6,000 or 9,000. So as you sit there and we see them kind of drifting off into the void, all of you are now sitting inside of your hold, looking at more money than you've ever had in one place at a time.
Sophis like yawns and is like, "Well, that was fun," and he goes like back towards the kitchen to get another cup of tea. Just like,
Conrad is-
Faye?
How are
Conrad
we
is-
splitting
Yeah.
this?
Is this what it feels like to be a successful pirate?
Yeah, pretty much.
"You all should have listened to me sooner."
This doesn't feel right.
Don't count your coins before they're divvied up, B.
This.
The fact that we have coins at all is pretty remarkable.
I will agree with that.
Let me take a look. This doesn't feel right at all. If she's that upset that I double crossed her, no torture, no poison, no nothing. That woman is known for putting heads on a pike, so to speak. Conrad is clearly shaken by this.
All right,
Or one of
Conrad,
the-
what are you going
Well-
to do to look around to try to clear your conscience? Clear your
Just gonna go
fears,
into the
rather.
garage. It's gonna repeat themselves. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Before taking a coin with, just to examine.
All right. So give me a brains roll as you kind of look around the room and whatnot. You grab a coin. You check out the boxes. You do all the stuff.
Roll brains.
Yep.
What does an 18 get me?
An 18 gets you that as you are looking at these boxes that are filled with silver, you can tell it's real silver. That's the real money. The box, however, you find a small hidden compartment on the side of it. As you open it very carefully and delicately, you can tell that there's a tracking device on it.
Yeah.
Fuck. We've been made. Conrad just pours out the container, grabs it, and races for the back of the ship as fast as they can. Is anyone in the way?
Is anyone in the way?
Step out of the way.
Sit back and watch.
Conrad practically breaks the door open as they clamp down their feet, close the airlock, open it up, and let the box fly out.
Flinging the box out the back, it drifts into the void. And you see that little tiny spark of something electric kind of shorting out in the depths of space.
Conrad's going to close the door, get back in, and a visibly shaken, terrified, and trembling Conrad walks over to Clarion. You got anything to take the edge off?
I've given most of it to Sylphie's.
I've given all my drugs to the other guy.
Yeah, that tracks.
Glorious.
There's always
Um,
moonshine.
Give it here.
Of course.
You
Conrad
provide
goes
him
to...
some booze.
Yeah.
Conrad doesn't even bother. They just down it all. And just go to their room, curl up, take a nap. They're for all intents and purposes messed up to the core.
Clarion checks the other chests for hidden compartments.
You go ahead and give me a brains roll.
Clarion,
Bea?
you might want
Wait a
to
minute,
check.
wait a minute. Hold up. I thought Conrad took all the chests. I thought there was one chest.
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
Conrad he'd been paranoid enough to go through all of them, so he tossed all the chests out. At the
Okay.
Same time. You just have a pile of silver on the floor, middle of the room.
Clarion,
Great.
If the chests were bugged, they had that shield generator for a while.
That is a fair point. I will check the shield generator.
All right, give me a brains roll as you take a look at it.
I just rolled one and it was 18. Can that count?
Sure, we can use that. So as you look at the shield generator, it's fine. Seems to be still in working condition. Doesn't seem to have any additions to it.
No, I believe that was her one ploy.
I guess she's not as hard-boiled as Conrad thought.
No, but I would take his feelings seriously, B.
I will.
Thank
Mostly.
you.
It's not like I worked as an executioner for the cartel.
I'll
So
prepare some activated charcoal for him.
with that statement, we see the scene kind of move forward a little bit. We now find Salfiz and Leifei back in the helm. Leifei, you had been planning on traveling to Eris to try to find the other gem, to meet up with some of the other masters, that kind of thing. But now Salfiz has been directed by some entity to travel to Silvershield, which is much closer. So what happens here? You know that Eris is way out of the way and will definitely slow down your timeline, Salfiz, for revenge.
So I think Sophus, with his cup of tea in hand, of course, is just.
So I would like to bring up a possible different course if you are open to hearing other ideas, Leifei.
Yeah, what do you have to say? You can see Leifei totally charmed as he's looking over all the silver
I
on the
feel like
ground.
he's just like sitting there going like, it's like,
Well, let's just say I've been given a lead on a type of an object that could greatly assist, could greatly increase my power towards my end goal of ultimate revenge and ultimately just being a powerful enough person to take down the DAD. I know we currently had a course previously set, but I would like to travel to Silvershield if we could stand a detour just for a little bit, just so I could collect this item.
You can see Leifei's eyes close. They open up. The joy is gone. He enters into fire mind state and turns back. What? We're gonna divert all the plans to head over to Eris?
I'm asking if you would be open to going to Silvershield. Purely looking to have an open discourse and dialogue with, to see if there was any type of leeway in the travel plan where maybe we could, make a little layover or something.
I mean, one of the Ioun stones is there, but
How long would it be? Leifei's also dumb, so he does no idea.
I don't think long. All cards on the table. It was told to me by a disembodied wandering soul of a practitioner of death magic. So, we didn't really cover that detail, but they said it was right outside of Silvershield, so it can't be long, right? Stop, collect, leave. These things always go smoothly. There's never any hiccups. It's always
there
just some
is.
form of mundane, you dig around the X, you find it, you leave,
As much as you might be trying to lie to yourself, you should face the fact that with this crew, nothing goes smoothly. Clarion's been, just scraping the silver into, a crate or whatever is handy, Tupperware.
Some sort of dark space lord? Told you this?
Yes?
Yes? Yes.
Yeah. Like, if someone was like me, but without the physical fleshy bits, kind of like that.
So all the things that make you charming, removed.
Oh, you think I'm charming? Oh, thank you very much. That's
More
actually
You're
a lot
delightful,
for
man.
myself.
More like the things that make him corporeal and No, I wouldn't use sane to describe him.
It's fair. I was actually more leaning towards what Clarion's description was. That's
I'm-
typically what most people have. But
I'm
yeah,
deep
it's
on the knot of doing this. After all, the last time we tried to deal with somebody like that, they tried to kill us. And they blew up our last ship.
true, very true.
And this isn't my ship. Honestly, it's yours.
Yes, I mean,
I wouldn't want this blown up.
personally, I mean, I frankly don't care. Ships are ships, you know. But if not now, maybe on the way back, on the way after, it's for me. It is it's a pretty critical stop for me. Once it fits into the docket.
How about we try and figure out who this person is first? I mean, they might be lying to us.
Well, they're Adira Burnside. I already know who they are. It's there's a pretty colorful history on them. I mean, when you deal with forbidden death magic, living or dead, I mean, it all kind of comes with the same level of legitimacy. So, you know, there's that whole like maniacal laughter, potentially secret hidden plan behind the prominent four plan. You know, they all have their own desires and things like that, and joint goals, and the enemy of the enemy is my friend and all that crap. But I think it's worth looking into. But like I said, maybe it's a stop number 2 or something like that.
Yeah. How about we head to Eris? We head that way at some point. Honestly, I'm not too clean on it after the last time.
Of course. And I, of course, do not want to step on your toes. And this is, you know, my attempt to have a show of good faith that, you know, we could go do your thing, and then, you know, maybe after we can go do my thing. You know, quick little pit stop. You know, stop, grab the thing. Completely no action, no event, no nothing, no complete complexity whatsoever. Just pick it up, and then, you know, we could go on to... Actually, I don't even know where we're going after that, so I'm only that far ahead in my thought process.
Sure. I don't see why not.
All right.
You said this object would increase your power?
That's what I was told. I'm as skeptical as much as you are, which is why the curiosity side of me wants to kind of see what it is, but who knows?
Yes, I think we should perhaps do some more research on this.
Oh, speaking of research, do you have any more drugs?
I'm running low. We will have to ration what we have left.
I'll just put whatever's left in my tea, it's fine. But alright, thank you.
I wouldn't recommend that. That is more than the usual dose.
I can't hear you anymore. I'm assuming you're saying it's perfectly fine. Okay, bye.
So,
I did not, in fact, say that.
So Selphus heads off to get way dosed, and everybody else moves into their positions on board the ship while Conrad drinks himself into oblivion. And then, of course, some time will pass. Where are you going to head next? Are you trying to just straight up barrel it all the way to Eris, or are you going to stop at a couple of way stops on the way, maybe spend some of that money you have? Oh no, we have lost someone!
The Corgo has gone missing.
Jackal, no!
Who left the door open?
Battle.
Someone left the door open.
Has disappeared. Give me just a moment, everyone.
I mean, on the way, we could perhaps have this sort of, what is it, a montage scene of us getting sweet cold weather gear for Eris?
Sweet cold weather gear.
Everybody needs a montage!
And also maybe some fuel. Just saying.
And maybe my friend.
Something happened. I'm here.
We had to go
everybody
up for
else is
walkies.
not. Oh, I hate it when the disconnects happen. Are we back?
Hey guys, miss me?
Yes.
Always.
Yes, we did. All right, I think we are back, but there's some things happening everywhere now. All right, well, fine. That's it. All right. Well, no, there's more. Everybody's in a different. Yeah, suddenly Benjamin is Beatrix. And, you know what?
Hi, I'm Beatrix. I'm the master of an ultra-powerful air elemental.
So, this is the perfect time, I think, for us to switch to break before we continue. But yes, Outpost Cerulean is nearby. If you wanted to stop by either that, or you can go to an Empire outpost and try to pass yourselves off as not pirates. One or the other.
Alpha Cerulean, it is.
All right, so heading to Cerulean. All right, everyone. We are going to be going to a brief 10-minute break. Grab yourself a snack. Grab yourself something else that is lovable and huggable and smoochable, like a kitty cat or a doggo, or your
Or a
wife
jackal.
or your husband or your jackal.
And $20 per cuddle.
$20 a cuddle.
And more, and you can touch my butt.
Perfect. That's a steal, honestly.
Yeah,
If
when you're
you-
good at what you do, don't do it for free.
If you walk the path, it leads you to the Korgo butt.
Leads you to the corgi butt.
Now you see, the Korgo butt with the fur comes down and it washes over the stones within the
Hold
river.
on a
Take us
moment.
out. Take us out.
All right, everybody. We'll be back shortly. Bye.
I'm Beatrix. Do you want to kill?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Delinquents here on Roll for Chaos. I'm in an awkward position because this is the moment that I had planned for Roland, but he has decided not to be here, so we'll return back to the other crew for the moment until he
We'll
comes
all
back.
just vote collectively on what Roland would do. It'd be like make your own adventure story.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I like this.
Roland is outside of the world. Does he A, attempt to crash land, B, attempt to fly by of the tower, or C, turn around and head the other way?
B.
I think it would be B. B was my.
Everybody's gonna be? Alright.
I think he would
Don't
totally
buzz the
he would fly-
tower!
Don't buzz the tower. He totally would. You
Right.
see, the path requires me to buzz the tower. Because just like the tower upon the stream upon the rock, you need to crash upon the path. The path does not crash upon you.
See, it even sounded like him. There we go.
Absolutely. It was just like him. Okay, so we see the ship kind of moving through the void on its way towards Outpost Cerulean. This is a couple of weeks later, as time has passed. In that period of time, how have you all been basically spending it? So we'll start off with B. What have you been doing for the past couple of weeks?
Expanding her mural. She is basically going to cover as many of the walls in the ship as she can in artwork.
Okay. So the ship is now well underway for getting a whole base coat down and the basic sketches in place all throughout. Give me a wear roll. Let's see how nice this is gonna look when it's done. That is unfortunately not great.
I'm gonna have to ace that, clearly.
You can't allow the mural to look bad. There's a 16. All right, it's coming along nicely. It's coming along nicely. What have you been doing for the past 2 weeks, Nora? With Clarion?
Clarion has been working on her invention.
So,
and
go ahead.
has been spending off time going over pirate knowledge with Lefe.
Pirate knowledge discussions, eh?
Yeah.
Trying to learn how to do the things right and do the etiquette and all that kind of stuff.
And where the outposts are and like who's okay, like who's down with pirates and who's not.
All right. Well, that we'll see what that scene looks like in a moment, and allow you to make some rolls to try to find out how much the two of you know in specific. But first, we need to make your brains roll to see how much progress you make towards your adventure.
Sweet.
You actually get 2 of them because of the 2 weeks. So that is a 19. That puts you really close, I believe, if not already there. You're at a 24 out of 40, so that puts you over. Yeah. So you're able to create your matter converter.
Yes.
So in one evening, you finally finish this thing up inside of your quarters, I'm assuming. And the first initial tests were successful. What were they? What were you changing?
I mean, whatever. I apologize for the noises. My kitten is playing with a straw.
How dare!
How dare he? Whatever is handy, honestly. Like if there was spoiled food.
All right, so you put spoiled food in, and then you have it converted into what?
Nutrient paste.
All right, so B, you're walking into the room, setting up a couple more of your mural edges, when you notice a bunch of old, wasted, like, meat product or whatever that had been left out by Sulpiz on a table when he forgot it was there, and it started to develop a green hue. You see Clarion pick this noxious stuff up and set it inside of this little tray, goes inside the heart of the machine, and then squirts out into this kind of grayish-looking paste.
Hey, I was calling that one Conrad. You know, actually, it still fits. Cool.
Huh. Yes, very clever. Would you care to taste test this for me?
Okay.
It is perfectly sanitized. I can guarantee that at least.
Well, I mean, that's good, I guess. I'll try it for you, Clarion.
Thank you.
So she scoops up a little bit of this, puts it in the mouth. It is grainy, mushy, and altogether unpleasant, tasting like a mixture of basically blended pureed something that's almost like cardboard because there's very little actual flavor.
Tastes kind of like Bicky soup.
Ah.
That brings me back.
So that has been completed, and then you spend some time discussing with Lei-Fei pirate stuff. Why don't you both roll brains to see how much you get from this and how much you even know, Lei-Fei?
Sweet.
How much I know. Brains.
Yep.
I'm a legend at that.
That's an 11 from Clarion.
I'll have you know that's a natural
18. It's a natural 19, my friend. It's an 18 total. So, with a 19, or with an 18, we will say that, Lei-Fei, you know more than most. So, you know where some of the major outposts and rumors of outposts are, but of course, being pirates, you're pretty sure you're accurate. On Eris, there's a couple of hidden pirate outposts that go by the name Torguda, which is like where the Pirate King resides, and his lieutenants. Self-proclaimed, of course, and there are no real laws involved in it, but everybody listens to the individual who is apparently very powerful there. There happens to be a few pirate outposts inside of the asteroid belt that kind of extends around near the edge of the Aether Sphere. You also know that on Rulo, you can find outposts there. Some of the Savras actually work hand in hand with various pirates throughout the Aether Sphere and continue their work with the scabs. They don't like the suits, they don't like the Empire or the way that it kind of seems to try to draw everything into its grasp, and have such continually ambush and attack other vessels when they can, try to take things and keep themselves sovereign as much as possible. There is a minor location within Cerulia. There's a black market there where underhanded deals happen, as well as pit fights, and like there's even a rumor that there's a Jundo being held below in there for, you know, whoever wants to try to attempt to kill it. The winner, of course, being granted a hefty amount of money if they can do so. So everyone else kind of takes their time. Selfiz, what do you do over the course of the 2 weeks?
I think a lot of it would be trying to rack their brain or trying to figure out what this thing on Silver Shield could be. And that'd be step one if I just basically can't get anywhere with it, or if it's just completely a dead end. Potentially just maybe doing some more research on Adira. And then outside of that, it would probably just be randomly interacting with people, probably to mix results.
All right, well, give me a brains roll just to see how much you come up with on your own. If you fail at this, do you want to call Adira?
That's a 4. I think at this point, Solfis is still kind of suspicious of them. I think he would want to wait to see what it is and how it plays out before enacting more trust upon them.
Okay. So with an 8, I'm going to say that the only thing you really know is that DAD has had to deal with power spikes that have happened amongst some Aether Mages in the past, and amongst some Eternals. Usually they come into contact with some sort of substances that make them stronger. There's always rumors, there's always legends about these things. The elves were said to harness some soul capturing methods that would increase the strength of others through things. There was also, you know, always the anomalies that occurred on occasion. There were rumors of deals made with ancient and unknown beings that, of course, created and granted power to others. But most of these things turned out to be hogwash in your knowledge and your history with them. So you don't know where to draw the line about what's too ridiculous and what's not.
That's fair.
All right. From here, we're going to pop over to Roland for the moment. So Roland, you happen to have made your pass around Silver Shield. Had cleared your mind a little bit because finally something interesting is around you and not just the same things forever. You've also been surviving off of what can only be referred to as stale wood that is soft enough to chew. It's pretty much the only thing left coming out of your little ration compartments. So what do you do now as you're approaching? The Empire themselves, when they see you going near the checkpoints, now of course calls out to you to try to get you to not, well, crash and to maybe follow protocols, maybe, just possibly, who knows? So over the radio, you hear the voice of someone who's like trying to hail you as you're getting closer to the world again.
Excuse me, skiff out there. Very, very tiny. I'm assuming you had a vessel that was destroyed, or are you in distress?
No, I've just been hurtling through the void for 4 weeks with nothing on my sensors and nothing to detect. So I'm fine. It's really no, we're quite stable. I just need to land somewhere and get some food in my belly.
Are you transporting any off-world goods?
I'm probably not.
Probably not. Are you transporting any weaponry or contraband?
My physical self is a manifestation of violence, but otherwise, no, not really.
Okay, buddy. You just calm down there a little bit. So, we're gonna scan you. Let us get in close and try to determine if there's anything that's worrisome to the Empire on board. Just stay where you are.
So you know, I am not 100% sure what is on this vessel. So if you find something untowards, I would appreciate if you let me know first.
Is this not your ship?
It's complicated.
So no, then.
Yes, but no.
Yes, but no. All right, prepare to be scanned.
You see the vessel like moving closer to you, a couple of other Empire ships just in the distance, just watching and waiting. Mostly bored, probably, but you know, you don't really look like much of a threat, being one really tiny vessel in the sea of stars. So as this thing comes over closer to you, you see like some energy kind of wash down across it. See a couple of individuals on the back with some devices in hand that are just kind of going across the ship. You see the vessel turn, a couple of individuals start talking to each other through your little viewfinders. You're watching them up on the deck, and some of them are pointing to some things. And give me an aware roll. With a 20, you lip read. This is a DAD vessel. So, shortly thereafter, the radio comm kicks on again.
Passenger, can you provide us your name, please?
Why, yes, of course. I am the Reverend Parson Roland St. James, September.
Parson Roland James September.
Reverend Parson, you put it in front.
Reverend Parson Roland James September.
Saint James, but honestly,
Saint-
any
Saint
combination
James.
of the, any combination of the preceding is acceptable to me.
When were you born?
Oh my, that's complicated.
Please provide us your Empire date of birth.
Roland provides his Empire date of birth. I don't know that. Me, the player, I,
Yes.
TT Benjamin, do not know that. Roland knows that for sure.
Of course he does. And then he says,
What's your height and weight?
Last I checked, I am 5'11", 180 on the button.
Have you been in any recent bar fights?
Bar fights? No.
Have you been in contact with any alien species in the void?
Define alien species.
Non-normal creatures that exist out here, some of them biologically replicating, mind controlling.
Now, define to me, if you would, good sir, non-normal. For what is the dividing line between normal and non-normal?
Mostly civility.
Well, every creature that I have encountered has a measure of civility, sir.
None of them have been murderous and trying to control your body or brain.
No, I think we're all good here.
All right, I'll just check that off as a maybe. If you would, can you please explain your point of origin with this vessel?
I am looking for a halfway decent diner. Now, if you were a tourist on beautiful Silver Shield...
No. Your point of origin. Where did you start this trip that led you here from?
In the void about 4 weeks back.
In the void, in which direction, sir?
That way. Roland points.
Just points.
I cannot see your hand, sir. Your nav console should have coordinates from the direction that you would come to us.
Okay, now I've never been able to work this kind of thing. Which button now? How do I find the what do they call it? Telemetry?
Give me a brains roll. Not a brains roll. A charming roll for lying, technically. Although maybe not entirely,
Roland
but still, yeah. You gotta flounder a little.
10.
You realize at this moment, Roland, that he is writing down everything he needs to arrest you as part of his paperwork.
That's fine. That'll be very cute for them. I love that for them.
That'll be very cute for them.
So you don't know where you came from. You're inside of a reportedly stolen vessel, and we're supposed to believe you're here peaceably. Yes, you don't have any weapons on board. We get that, but we do have traces of some sort of chemical agent that is not of the Aether sphere inside of your vessel.
Actually, that's news to me. Can you tell what's in my... Wait, hold on. What's in my vessel?
Trace amounts of...
He lists off a bunch of chemical components
that seem to be creating some sort of bioorganic matrix similar to carbon-based life forms.
In common, please.
Alien goo.
Oh. Well, you should probably quarantine this vessel.
Yes, we probably should. As a matter of fact, quarantining it here in the void seems like the best bet.
Now, if you quarantine me in the void, is there an opportunity for you to send me up diner food?
We will send you rations.
Oh, that's music to my ears. You don't know it's been a very long trip.
I'm sure it has. Not many of us have made any kind of extended trip like this in a skiff.
It was deeply uncomfortable. Fortunately, there was roughly 4 weeks of rations on board.
I'm sure it smells horrible in there. So,
yeah, it is. That's not going to be great. Oh, by the way, I claim refugee status, so that might be a problem for you.
Refugee status.
Yes, in fact, sir.
Why do you invoke this status?
Why? Because it's a whole thing that I just come from.
So where did you come from?
Well, I got on this skiff to escape another situation.
What seems to have been the problem, sir?
I'm going to have to ask for your superior in order to answer that question in person. Thank you.
You're going to have to ask for my... What does he know with the chain command? How much do you get? He's also more irreverent. You know that. Oh, so...
He turns off the radio and continues his conversation. A little bit later, you hear him come back on the radio.
My commanding officer will speak with you, but since you happen to have alien go inside of your compartment, we will not be opening that to speak face to face.
Why don't you just run the ship through a superheated containment system? That should burn it all off.
You're inside of it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Is there something you're not telling us about your genetic makeup?
Yes.
I knew it.
Oh, what did you know? By all means, do tell.
You were impersonating the general folk of the Aether sphere. You are being held in the concerned that you're an alien being sent here to assassinate the Emperor.
Oh my God, you guessed it. You got it on the nose. How? How? Oh, you have seen through my ruse, sir.
You're admitting to all fault. Hear that? He is admitting to all fault. Write this down.
Incredible. You will receive so many commendations. They will name you Commandant. You have so many commendations. Please, I am trying to get fed. I have been at space for 4 weeks, sir.
Alien, we will not bring you onto Silver Shield where you can consume all of the masses there. Over my dead body.
The only masses I'm trying to consume is some bacon and eggs. For the love of Pete.
I'm confused now.
What's wrong? What is... Can I throw another charm for perplexing this poor man?
Right there.
Yeah, go for it. Give me another charming roll. That's a 12.
It's not great.
Let's see how confused he is. Does he? Oh,
Roland's had a long month.
He rolled a 4.
Oh no.
So, as he's sitting there, he just goes,
I think this is over my pay grade. Stay right where you are. We're going to be shackling your vessel, and my commander will decide what to do with you.
Fabulous. You can find me at Block 4, and then Roland just dives.
You just dive the vessel down as fast as you can.
Yeah, and he just I mean just lands.
All right, diving down towards the world. As you turn and dip the ship straight down, you can't help but notice that there are sparks and flashes of light as cannon fire seems to race around you as you're heading towards the planet. Give me an agile roll.
Oh, I'm good at those. I'm okay at those. I was due.
All right. So your vessel has these cannonballs whipping past one after another. Oh, wow. Okay. So as you are entering the atmosphere, you see like flames starting to lick up the front of the vehicle as you're diving as quickly as you can. Some of the larger ships behind you start trying to approach after you. Cannons firing on you. You just see holes peppering the clouds that you're now diving into. The path seems to be fraught with peril today. There's a slam, and suddenly all your engines go, and you start spinning for a while. As you're spinning around and around and around, at least it's not boring. Once you get to the other side of the clouds, the engines kick back on. But you're now listing very heavily to the left. Give me an agile roll to try to land this now spiraling vessel. Nice. A 19. Roland, this thing tilts and twists. You find yourself moving through this large column of wind that is trying to buffet the vessel. You see rain start pouring down against you. And as you very meticulously try to land this craft, and it slams into the ground, kind of bouncing and bumping a little bit, we see Roland just kind of look up out the side to something that resembles like a tundra. There's a bunch of like plants that are all covered in snow, and you've crash landed upon the surface of Silver Shield.
Roland just pops the cockpit, knowing there's people in pursuit. Snaps his fingers, and just sort of calls out to the General Aether using his respect ability. Is anyone chilly out here?
So first, give me a tough roll. As you stand up, your legs are completely numb from being asleep for weeks. All right, you wobble a little bit, but you're like shaky deer, like baby giraffe at the moment as you're standing outside of this vehicle, trying to deal with that. You know that feeling you're trying to get them to freaking wake up, but they just won't. And then you call out to the Eternals in the area. Give me a magical roll. 10. All right, with a 10, you see this little mote of light kind of zip over near you, and this tiny little imp-looking thing kind of appears to you. Obviously, not everybody can see them, as an Eternal, like, in the area just pops up.
I am here.
How are you, Fran?
I am nice. It is nice weather day. It happens to be cold, which is good for me.
I agree. Yeah, I feel a whole lot better myself as Roland sort of takes on the aspect of cold and then he's immune to it. And then he looks at the thing and says, "Would you mind terribly just lowering the entire ambient temperature of this ship down to about as low as you feel comfortable?"
Oh, can you help?
Ah, that depends on you know how you define help, but I suppose, yeah, why not?
Well, I need some of a. I'm small, and I need a conduit into the real world.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love being a conduit. Yeah, let her rip.
Excellent.
The little thing like flies over and lands on top of your head. You can feel icicles just coming down the sides of your face, and you see your palms begin glowing slightly.
Just put them over there on the thing, on the thing.
And then Roland touches like the hottest part of the ship and just tries to freeze the whole thing over.
Steam starts like blasting off of your hands, and after a couple of moments of this, it just a creaking, cracking sound of ice covering the entire vessel happens.
Ow. Thanks, Fran.
You're welcome. You know, you're like your father.
I'm like my. I presume it's like gone.
Yep. It has just drifted off into the snow like another flake that's just coming down.
Okay, yeah, that's all right. Now, okay, all right. Roland says to kind of no one. And then he kind of like folds up his clothes and like throws them in like a haversack and then just, I guess, starts walking to a city.
All right.
Hoping that he, because he has sort of like masked the heat signature of the crashed ship, that maybe he can just do it on foot.
So looking around from when you were coming down, give me a wear roll to see how accurate you are at finding the nearest town to where you crashed. All right. So you saw one in the distance, and you think you're going the right way. So Roland wanders around for about 3 days in the wilderness in the cold. We'll come back to you in a little bit.
More isolation.
So, well, I mean, you're trying to learn all about yourself at this point and follow the path, right?
Spirit quest. No, he's trying to not follow the path.
Yes, not follow the path. So, over to you, Leife. You are piloting the vessel at one point. As you're getting closer to Cerulean, you're only about a week away. And as you were flying it, you see this ripple in front of you. You see it just kind of blast through the void, heading off in what would be the left of where you're facing. And as it tears through, you can see through this gap ships on the other side. A cascade of cannon fire going back and forth, energy and weapons firing at one another, massive blasts. Some of these thin and sleek vessels reminiscent of the history books, the monarchy, the ships the elves used to use. Some of these towering and bulky looking heavy iron and steel vessels, obviously empire ships. You believe what you're witnessing is some of the Great War happening through that rift. And as you watch that, you see blasts come out of it into your area, and your shields just ding, like alarm bells go off for a second, and that tear fades into sparkles. Everybody on board the ship, something just slammed into it, causing the whole vessel to shake like you just took a shot.
Helm, what was that?
Memories of the old war.
That felt like an awful real memory.
Well, yeah, certainly. But I think they happen around here. Perhaps. I don't know. It looked like it from pictures Yeah, it looked like it from pictures I'd seen. It was a tear in the world. Well, not the world, the space, the void. Through the stars, the silver. Anyways, I don't think it's going to affect us anytime soon again, hopefully.
Leife, there is a shearing noise, and part of the ship is now sitting with you, but you're standing in an alleyway. As you're there, you can still hear others' voice on the comms coming through to you. The air around you is kind of wavering and strange. The sky is dark and red, covered with massive clouds that seem to be covering the entire territory. The stonework here is ancient, it looks like. And there's no technology along the streets. The lanterns nearby, just holding candle wicks inside of bracings, a couple of oil lanterns and things like that. So as you're standing there, again, you can hear your crew talking to you through the speaker, but everything around you is screwed up.
I wonder if it's like the time things that we ran into back on that ship.
Yes, we do seem to be running into time anomalies more frequently.
Yeah, we are. He's like trying to click the button on the comm system. Can he communicate?
You can. Your voice still goes back. As you look back into the street, you hear someone shout out in a language you don't comprehend. And you see these 5 soldiers in heavy-duty black armor that start running towards you.
No. Wait, hold on. Just a moment. Leif is going to start running.
As you turn to run, you sprint around a corner, and you find yourself outside of what's probably an old tavern. There's fire burning from within it.
I'm at a tavern right now, everybody. Somebody get to the front of the ship. Something's going
I'm
on.
already on my way.
B is also.
So you both move towards the front of the ship, and as you get up near where you can see where Leife should be sitting, instead you see some sort of portal to an alleyway. A bunch of soldiers running down the street, and some sort of massive being in the distance with tendrils like extending into the sky. The sky is red, and dark clouds fill them. Leife, from that position, you hear laughter and screaming, and you can see inside of the room in front of you, like a charnel house. There's people being murdered all over the place by some sort of soldiers, crazed looking. You see elves walking amongst humans and dwarves.
In pain, or?
They are screaming and running in terror. It looks like you walked into the site of a battle of some kind.
So Leife is going to move in towards the battle.
As you get closer to it, you can see that there are these armored soldiers that are moving towards the what looks like a civilian group of individuals, and they're shouting out something along the lines of, well, I guess you don't understand the language. They're shouting something and pointing at these individuals. And give me an aware roll. This is not a hero-related aware roll.
I'm good at those.
Whew, 23.
Hey!
23.
This is just looking at it, seeing the way they're behaving. This is an inquisition. They're seeking out individuals and exterminating them with prejudice. So they're targeting people for some reason.
Time to stop them.
You rush towards the 2 nearest. There's 2 in front of you that have just gone into a house chasing after a couple of individuals. So if you would like to, you can try to stop those 2 before they go into the building.
Certainly.
Okay.
He's heading up, drawing his blade.
So you draw your blade. Do you draw it loudly or quietly?
Loudly. He wants to know that he's coming.
All right. You draw loudly, and the 2 soldiers kind of turn and look back to you. Their blades in hand, you can tell, are made of steel or iron. You can feel that as they get closer to you. Who wears that much iron armor? Who wields that big of an iron sword?
Good morning, or dark sun. And he's going to swing his sword.
Give me an attack roll.
He knows. As he's going in, he is speaking into the comms, essentially his comms that he can work with right now.
Okay.
Dealing with the enemy.
All right, Leife.
What enemy?
With a 20,
Oh,
you
what's going
strike.
on?
Give me a damage roll.
Certainly.
Leife, you should disengage. This is some sort of rift. You have strayed from the anchor point.
Clarion, what's going on?
With your first strike, this opponent tries to parry you aside. You end up stabbing into their leg. You see him start to buckle down slightly. He brings up his gauntleted fist and tries to punch you in the chest. How do you avoid this? This is now a cinematic scene for a moment.
He raises up his knee and pushes it to the side as his legs get into this coral.
Give me an agile roll.
Certainly.
You rolled
11.
higher than needed. So bringing in your leg, you push that aside. You have your sword still struck down closer to the street. His ally next to him starts moving forward, raises his arms overhead. How do you react? You've got one opponent currently on the floor and his arm kind of pulled out to the side. The other one is standing next to him, 2 arms above his head. You've got your sword down into his left leg.
One's down, one's coming close to
Yeah.
attack.
There's one to your right that's standing just to the side of this other one, who is now semi-crouched because you hit him in the leg.
He'll leave the sword open, drop to all fours, throw himself up with his hands, and go to kick him in the face with a donkey kick.
Excellent. Give me your attack roll.
Certainly.
Maneuver he was not expecting. The opponent gets a 8 to avoid your attack.
Is this strong or agile?
It's agile. Oh, you're 1 shy.
7.
Do you wish to take it, or are you going to do something else?
Can I use my +1?
You can. So that
I'll
would
take
make
it.
you succeed on this kick. Hitting him underneath the chin, go ahead and give me a d8 plus your strong damage.
Certainly. And that should be 5 total.
All right, 5. His head snaps back, and you see him like stagger a bit. His armor throwing him off balance. The opponent then falls to the ground, crashing down behind himself. The other one with the blade still stuck in his leg and his armor now tries to wrench that out and tries to stand back up. You have a moment to react while he tries to get your sword out of there.
He's gonna push onto the comms again. Should I back off? I don't know. This feels right.
So we move back to the scene of Clarion and B inside of the cockpit. As you both rush inside, you see what can only be deemed a portal. These 2 heavily armed individuals come running towards you, and as they get close enough to where you think they could come inside, they just kind of stare like they're looking into a window that they can't see through.
This is very strange, Clarion, and I don't say that lightly.
Clarion takes a failed experiment with the nutrient paste to turn it into meatballs and tosses one out of the portal.
As you throw one of these things, it hits the edge of something invisible and just smears down like it's hitting the wall inside the ship. It doesn't seem to go through.
Interesting.
Maybe it's just for Leife.
That is certainly a fascinating and potentially salient hypothesis. She tries poking it.
Your finger kind of rebounds for a second, like there's something rubbery that you're pushing against. Doesn't cause any damage, but you don't seem to be able to go through it.
Leife, if you do not rejoin us, we cannot follow you through to this other side at the other time.
As the other person is drawing up the sword, he sort of puts his foot on it and he looks back. Can you see
as you look
like
back,
a portal behind him?
You see the portal there with soldiers kind of looking at it at the moment, not really paying much attention to you. You hear the cry of pain coming from near that tavern. As you look up, you can tell the individuals who ran inside this building are exiting into an alleyway nearby. You seem to have given them enough time to escape. But you see a dagger lifted up by a blonde-haired individual with a scar across the side of their face, shouting in glee at something, and you see blood like spraying out of this building, this tavern. You could do something about that, maybe take a shot from this distance, but you can't get there on foot fast enough.
He's going to use Fire Mind method.
Okay.
Is something invading his head?
You clear your mind. Nothing is there.
He's going to throw kunai towards them and start running for the portal as he grabs up his weapon.
Give me your attack roll. Whatever that threat is in through the tavern window. Doesn't see it coming. It gets up 0.
I'll take a 13. That'll
13.
beat 0.
So with your 13, you are going to strike. Go ahead and give me a damage roll and add your bonuses at this point for going after this character.
That'll be a total of 10.
10. And did you add in your...
That's his strong, his, I believe, aware.
This would be from your introspection. You gain a d6 to the roll for this one.
Woo! Pog up. 12 total.
Nice. There's a noise, and that smiling, like, blonde-haired figure kind of topples backwards and hits the ground, and then cries out in pain. You seem to have stopped them, maybe even killed them. And as you rush across the distance, and you leap through the portal, you find yourself like crashing back into Bee and Clarion's arms. The portal itself seems to elongate for a second, and then shatters. You all can kind of see it blasting out into the void. A moment later, there's a body floating in the void, like grabbing at its throat and hoping to hold on, as it seems to have lost air suddenly.
Is this one of the guards from before?
Doesn't
Soldiers?
look like a guard. It's somebody that's dressed in soft garb. Is carrying probably a musical instrument. It seems to be maybe a minstrel.
Can
Clarion
we save him?
checks the sensors.
They're still alive, but they are definitely not doing well in the void.
Can
Yes.
we bring them in, Clarion?
I believe so. And she's gonna send Sheldon out with the savior grapple.
All right, so you go to your little exit hatch in the roof, and then Sheldon flies out, zips across the distance, grabs a hold of this individual, and you see the little... It fights it with it for a minute before air comes on, and then it grabs onto whatever that is, and Sheldon begins dragging them back towards the vessel.
Curious.
So as they come closer and closer, they get escorted down in through the hatch, and you see this figure hit the ground, kind of start coughing a little bit before removing their mask, and we see this face. Bernhardt, if you would, how do you react to seeing yourself in a different universe?
Right, that caught me off guard. Stabbed, I believe.
Yes, you were underneath a cackling blonde-haired woman who was attempting to murder you, and gleefully doing so. You have wounds across your chest, but a kunai came in through the window, took out the individual, and you were able to escape. While running, the ground swallowed you up, and you ended up here.
Who are you, blessed angel?
That would be
Do
to
I
Clarion, I
understand
think,
him?
at that moment. His voice does come out clear to you.
Hello. My name is Clarion Bell. I can assist you medically. And she reaches for her healer's kit.
Okay. Give me a brains roll. Do you allow her to heal you?
Certainly, I must be in some legendary heaven, a realm of gods.
With a 21, the healing is very effective, and the wounds flow stems. This thing in front of you, which very obviously is some sort of machine, creation maybe of, some sort of, you don't know. You've never seen a metal person before. Maybe it's an angel. Maybe it's an elemental. So how do you react, B, as you see this individual who is so far out of their element to be strange?
I think she'll do her best to be comforting in Bee's own special way. I don't know about heaven, but you're on a ship. Who are you?
Bernhardt. The name's Bernhardt. Bernhardt Ladenvol.
That's a very long name.
It
I
is.
think I'll call you Bernie.
I caucused for Bernie.
That's good to hear. Even up here, even wherever I am right now, things stay the same. And you?
Well, my name's B.
Little V, it's good to meet you.
I like that.
You see,
It's
Bernard.
good to meet you too, Bernie.
He sits up with just a small wince of pain, as Clarion's work is very well done, but hasn't completely removed all of it. And like puts his hand out to you.
Take it slow. You have several bandages as you have caused much subcutaneous bruising from the decompression.
Would you like something to drink?
Yes, and by decompression,
The presence
you-
of vacuum, the void. She gestures outside the cockpit window.
I see.
The void is the realm of demons.
Yeah. How far have we been traveling down here?
Since you have arrived, we have covered approximately. And then she just states a distance.
X amount of miles.
Light seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, just send us down. Well, hopefully we're in a fine state. At some point, I'll hope to be in better conditions.
You begin to you feel the concern that maybe you didn't end up in some heaven, but rather on the barge further into the depths of the demon realms.
I have considered that.
B comes back with some tea that she has stolen from Umbra. Here you go.
Oh, thank you. He starts to drink it. Whoa.
It might be a little strong.
All right.
Let me see that. Is it the spiked tea?
Yes.
Probably.
Yes, it is.
This tastes
take this
very
back.
medicinal.
It does taste
No.
very medicinal.
I think one sip will be fine for pain-killing purposes, but Beatrix, you should take this back. I
Okay.
think we should fix him fresh tea.
I can do that.
Leifei, as you're standing there kind of seeing this all occur, you can tell that that individual is someone that is wearing the garb of where you just were. They seem to have been dragged through when you came back.
Leifei is taking his time of this. He's sort of caught up in adrenaline after what just happened. And he's going to sit down in his chair.
All right. So as B and Clarion take care of this new traveler, whoever they are, we see Conrad and Self is standing inside of the hold together. Self is. You've known Conrad a while. You know he's a straight shooter. You know that he doesn't take nonsense and doesn't accept when individuals don't pay their tab, whatever that might be. And Conrad, as you're standing there staring at Self is, you see the world around you explode into fire and fighting again. You see the moment the cannons were blasting down on you and the other company inside of the cartel. And you remember warning Selphis, but forgetting to warn her. So the two of you sitting there having a little bit of a drink, some of the extra alcohol that Conrad had gotten now being passed between the both of you. The shadows seem to have died down a lot more than you had anticipated them doing, so whatever that entity that's following you around is, it seems to be holding up its part of the deal. But Conrad has ghosts of his own in his eyes. How do you react?
So this is like in conjunction to what was going on with Leifei, right? In the front of the ship?
Yes.
So are we actively like almost like watching like a 4D like simulation of something, or is this kind of just like memories flashing by? Or
It does seem like you're seeing these things in front of you. Like they just appeared at the back of the ship. both of you are really kind of drunk and high right now.
Yeah.
So
okay.
it's like you're
That's what I
watching
thought.
TV more than you're engaging in it.
Conrad, if it was anyone else but myself, I feel like I wouldn't have to ask this, but are you also seeing this?
Conrad, Jackal?
You're muted if you are talking.
No, we didn't hear you.
What's up?
Oh, you're seeing all kinds of crazy stuff happen through the wall nearby.
What's going on?
It's the moment that you forgot to mention that there was some secret cannons being fired on your cartel, the one that made your girlfriend mad at you when you helped Selphis. So you're seeing that kind of play out in an image in the hold, like around the two of you. You're both very drunk and high, however, so it's hard to realize if it's real or not. And Selphis just asked you, are you seeing this too?
Oh. Yeah, Conrad takes another hit/drink.
No, he said, and he just drinks more booze.
Interesting. All right. All right. Well, this is playing out exactly about how I remember it being. It would also explain why that lovely woman would probably be perturbed at your, I wouldn't say behavior, but you know, like, well, I, for one, am appreciative of what you did. So, for as much as she hates you, I am very grateful for...
And at that moment, a knife shoots out of Conrad's pocket and just embeds in the wall, nicking Selphus's eyebrow.
Yep, it's about right. All right, well, yep, here's another one. I'll refill you.
Another drink poured out for you. Before that wall just suddenly disappears. No more image. You're still sitting in the hold now.
So you just want to do a drinking game, or do you want to actually address the floating image on the wall?
Let's do truth or dare.
Oh boy, magical or
Opens another crate of
non-magical?
moonshine.
Who's going first?
Rock, paper, scissors on screen.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Whoa.
I don't know. This is gonna be way too hard. Why don't we just roll for it? Why don't we just do
roll
like the
for it.
actual thing,
Yeah.
and, where it doesn't involve system lag?
What are we rolling?
I just rolled a d20.
Whoever
Okay.
gets the highest roll. It looks like an 18 to a
Hey!
17. How close? All right, Conrad, you're up first.
Conrad takes a drink. Truth or dare?
All right, fuck it, dare me. Dare me, you little floofy puppy of a creature.
I dare you to tell me what kind of cannons those are.
I don't think I'm an egg cup or anything, but I don't really know what you're talking about.
I didn't know you felt this way. Your turn.
Well, truth is there.
Truth.
All right. Why the hell do you hang around me so much?
Suicidal ideations.
All right, well, I can drink to that. Yoink.
that's a more true thing I've never heard. All right, so we'll fade out on this scene for a moment because we're almost out of time for the evening. We'll move back over to Roland. You've been marching through the snows for a while. Obviously, occasionally here and there, getting some of the aid of the nearby Eternals to make sure you don't freeze to death. And eventually find yourself coming up on a village. It took you a little longer than anticipated. There was a valley that you didn't actually remember seeing that you ended up in the middle of, and then you had to climb up and over and out of it. There wasn't any easy pathways, and since everything's covered in snow, you didn't know where any of the roads were, which is a problem. So you're haggard. You are tired. You are hungry as hell, and in the distance you can see a small town with a rather strange-looking large church just sitting on the edge of it, with this massive engine kind of attached to it on the back. You can see a bunch of houses on a main promenade, a large saloon, I suppose, with a sign kind of swinging on the outside called the Rusty Spur.
Roland stumbles into town and church, saloon, church, saloon, church, saloon. Oh. Does Roland recognize the architecture of the church?
Give me a brains roll. 11. You don't. Not necessarily. I mean, every kind of church sort of has some similar aspects to it. Usually grandeur is one sign you stray away from when you see churches. This one isn't grand. It's rather impressive to look at because it seems to have a whole bunch of mechanical parts situated all throughout the walls and the doors and the actual rises that are upon it. The weather vane that it has up on top seems to be moving in time to the wind and catching it for some reason. And yeah, that's it. There seems to be a small automaton out in the front yard that's just scraping away snow meticulously.
Roland walks up to the automaton. Pardon.
One moment, please.
Yeah, you got to find the right voice.
Yep.
Hello there. How can I be of service to you?
Wondering if this is the kind of spiritual establishment that provides food to wanderers.
Of course, all of us are cogs in the God's will.
Yeah, okay, I'm that hungry. And then Roland goes inside.
As you walk up to the front doors and you step up before these two large double doors, there's this whirring, clicking noise that happens, and the doors just open for you automatically. You see a small, balded-headed fellow with kind of a large jowls, genuine smile and crow's feet at the side of his face, or at the side of his eyes as he watches you come inside. Oh, brother, please come in out of the weather and have yourself warmed up here at one of the pews. He rushes over in your direction.
It's all right. Honestly, I've been walking a while, and that's fine. It feels good to move my legs. You don't know what I've been through. Do you happen to have any leftover breakfast or lunch?
Oh, hungry, are you? Most certainly. Come with me. I had quite a bit of a breakfast this morning. I have some leftovers wrapped up in cheesecloths in the back. And he moves behind a curtain and comes back out with a little tray, which he puts down at a table nearby. Come, sit. Tell me your story.
And Roland sits down. Tea or coffee? You have any?
Oh, yes.
I'm a big fan of church coffee myself, if you happen to.
Well, you're in luck, my good friend. I mean, we're all part of the plan. Must be the thing. He walks over, grabs a hold of a little tea kettle, and brings it to the table and just pours out some steaming hot coffee, which he just puts back down on the table. You see no elements, so it is keeping itself heated.
Roland takes a sip. The plan?
Yes, we're all part of the grand design. Each one of us just playing our part in the machine to make things work.
All right. That's your prayers sound like my prayers, my brother. Tell me more about this plan. Oh, sweet flavor. I haven't tasted anything in over a month. Anyway, go on.
Of course. So, each and every one of the gods' creations serves a purpose. Even if it could be considered minuscule, the tiniest cogs can sometimes hold the greatest pressure that just lead towards the eventual culmination, the creation of the grand design. Does that make sense?
What's the grand design? Yeah. Tell me about it.
The grand design is the plan for, I believe, all things to come together in the end. Sort of invention, a clockwork machine, as it will, of purpose, direction, and well-being, belonging, constant safety, and direction.
How incredibly provocative. By whence have you come about these beliefs?
Oh, many of us have belonged to the Church of the Machine God for a time.
Oh, the Machine God.
Yes.
I wonder. Does Roland know the name of the machine
Give me a
gun?
brains roll, Roland. Let's see if you know. I'm going to say
Let's
that you do have a
find
lower
out.
roll target because of your purview, your profession. You just barely reached over it. So you do know of the Church of the Machine God. They are,
You are worshippers of the very Alberian St. Francis.
oh, you know the sacred name. Are you also a walker of this path?
Let me tell you about paths, my friend.
So we could say that a rousing discussion between the two of you of what a path is, what the direction is, and what the cogs of fate bring for a while, bouncing ideologies off of one another back and forth, until it comes to a point where the two of you then start to separate slightly. What does the separation of your ideology start to look like?
Here is the final crux of it. Your path is in service. My path is in surrender.
You seem to think that those two things are not one and the same.
Oh, they are not. They are not. For you see, your path is a being of will. My path is nature itself. It is not willful, it simply is. And therefore, because it is not willful, it is greater.
You don't believe for a second that many of the steps you have taken have not been preordained in one way or another, leading to some sort of grand design. You honestly
Preordained. Now that implies the designer, the assembler of this cathedral of cogs. Tell me this. Was the river preordained? Is every bend and crook and rock preordained, my friend?
Yes. You can tell these things through the nature of erosion itself. It will take the paths that are most pleasing to it, and you can tell what the erosion will become through the smallest amount of application. That who starts the river creates the path, creates the rocks, creates the flood.
And then Roland kind of like leans in on his hands a little bit. And how do you know what pleases the river?
You learn to listen to it.
And how do you listen to the river?
You become in touch with that which the river is.
Have you ever asked it?
It.
The river.
I have. And I've
Oh?
heard my purpose here.
Mm-hmm. So you sat by a river for a little while, and you listened to it move and drag dirt behind it. And it told you what you already believed.
No. I was not a faithful man. Faithful man. That's the thing I meant to say. I was not a faithful man before I came by this. I did not believe in the greater will. I was lost.
And
now,
how did the greater will guide you towards a building of cogs and pistons?
why to meet individuals such as yourself? To guide you onto
No,
a path
that
of
isn't what
truth.
I asked, my friend. How did the river, how did the natural world, a place of dirt and stone, of wind and fire, how did it guide you to build this place?
Oh, I did not build this place, but I understand your sentiment. The river, the stone, all of it is complex mathematics. All of it. All of it follows a very specific order. All of it can be manipulated with the right applications of intelligence and strength. The river does not exist without us or in spite of us, but rather because we allow it to continue to exist. The river will do exactly the same thing every single time under the same circumstances. If we adjust those circumstances slightly, the river changes with it. Does that not then make us? stronger than the river? Does that not make us the purveyors of the path, the same one you claim to follow? Does that not mean that there are entities of greater will and strength than ourselves that could then just be making rivers that we walk along and listen to?
Tell me this. Is the salmon greater than the river, though it opposes it?
Only if it thinks it is.
And therefore is the bear greater than the river, for it devours the salmon. And therefore is the man greater than the bear, greater than the salmon, greater than the river.
Yes, for each one of them has higher and higher intellect.
And therefore is the eternal greater than the man, greater than the bear, the salmon, and the river.
I would not argue that the eternal is greater than the man, for many of them are not as intelligent as we are.
They are beings of force, are they not?
They are beings of purely force. but
Can
not
you impress
necessarily
your will
directly
upon them?
Yes. Can you?
Why don't you show me? I have never seen such a thing. A man who can impress his will upon an eternal. It would surely be a miracle.
You do not need to ask this of me.
Why not?
Because you yourself are part eternal, that makes it problematic. I don't wish to insult you.
Roland kind of leans back. Okay, actually, there's a lot to unpack there. Have we been having this entire conversation under false pretenses?
I did know you were coming.
Who told you?
He just gestures to the church.
Oh, how wonderful. So you don't want to insult me because you don't want to command an eternal before me. Are you concerned for my ego or for the eternals?
I am concerned that it would be looked upon poorly. It would indicate an imbalance of power within this room between you and I would rather be equals.
And who's on the heavy end?
If you are part eternal, and if I am capable of commanding eternals, then that would indicate that I was, and that your free will would no longer be outside of question.
Well, then I have good news for you, because my path is a surrender of free will. So if that's really something that you can do, I simply must beg to see this parlor trick.
He puts his hand on his forehead, and then he just raises his palm towards you. For a second, you're seeing a flash of brilliant light. You hear the walls of the cathedral hum around you, and you hear this sound, this high-pitched noise sound that changes off and on, like a fax machine. And in that moment, you find yourself standing up and walking over to the table nearby, where you grab the coffee and bring it back and serve the priest before sitting down. And then he looks at you and goes, I am sorry for that.
Oh, no, it's fine. I have been led by the nose many times in my life. Doesn't bother me. So then, who really are you?
I am but a humble priest of the order. The true power here is not in me, but in the machine god. This world is him.
The whole thing. The void that I passed through, Silver Shield, this town, this church.
This universe that we live within is him. Have you not questioned your teachings? Give me a brains roll real quick. Something seems to nag at the back of your mind for just a second.
Something's nagging at my personal, individual back of my mind. Anyway, that's an 18.
When growing up, education that you were out there, the discussion of the procession of the seasons. Every single world has the same seasons. Every single world has the same timeline for which the worlds travel around the solar systems in the heart of the world, or in the heart of the solar system. Everything's contained inside of this bubble. Mathematically, it's concerning, the sources of which are still being sought after. But if you were living in a giant machine, that might make sense.
I would bid you thanks for your kindness.
You are
For in fact, I was questioning my direction. Right up until now.
What have you discovered about yourself?
If you'll pardon me, I have a frozen ship to get back to.
All right then. Maybe we'll see each other in the future.
For your sake, I hope not. And then
Yes.
Roland stands up and leaves.
He just nods his head at you once as you stand up and exit the room. The door is closing automatically behind you. You feel a palpable vibration under your feet, and you get this weird sensation like the very trees, the sand is watching you.
All right.
You travel
Okay.
back the way you came, and rely upon the Eternals nearby to make it back to your vessel. Once you arrive there, you see that the ship is heated up and ready to go.
Roland takes a quick look around.
You don't see anyone.
Footprints?
None.
Melted snow around the
Well,
where the
just
hot
around
parts of the
hot
ship
parts
are?
of the ship, yes.
Roland inspects the ship for space goo.
Give me an aware roll. You do not find any space goo.
Roland kind of checks the skies, and then he opens the cockpit and just like clicks on the radar to like detect like stuff in the area.
Seems to be having a problem with detecting things around you.
Hmm. Well, all right. Why not? And then Roland just hops in and takes off.
Flying back out through the atmosphere. Where do you head?
Stupidest thing I ever heard. Machine God running the whole thing, leading me by the nose. I'll show you being led by the nose. That's nonsense. That's bullshit. Listen to me by the path. Path's about surrender. It's not about control. It's not about something being in charge. It's about just what is. It's about the natural world. It's not about cogs and machines. Oh, where the hell did the captain say we were going? Was it?
Your
Where was he?
Your trajectory, your navigation console, you see numbers go and appear across it.
Looks at the numbers.
They seem to be somewhere in the direction of Eris, a little away from where you had started at.
Oh, heck. All right. And Roland runs telemetry to try to head them off.
All right. And Roland goes zapping off into space.
How many freaking weeks am I going to have to do this?
A few more weeks of craziness is going to happen in that cabin as you go
Oh, wait.
back.
Oh, hold on. We haven't done a chaos roll tonight. Roland's going to do one.
What are you going to do, Roland?
Roland's going to activate respect again.
Okay.
And try to find a fire eternal.
Chaos. Chaos.
Sure,
Yep.
you want a fire eternal?
Yes.
Okay. Give me a magical roll. Let's see if one comes to your call or how big it is.
I mean, maybe I get trapped here. We'll see.
You could do space.
14. You could do a
Time.
space eternal or a time eternal.
Fire eternal.
All right. With a 14, you do see some sort of being that seems to be hugging the back of your vessel because that's the only place with fire nearby. And then it just like leans over towards you.
what you do in the cockpit of the vehicle?
Have you ever wanted to travel the galaxy?
Always, but I'm scared of the void. It stings my fire.
That's going to be fine. So all I need is an afterburner. Now here's the thing. This vessel is pumping out a lot of excess fuel when it fires the thrusters. So all you got to do is just stand right in the sweet spot. You'll have all the fuel you can drink, my friend.
You want to make me make a big fire?
Oh, you just make the biggest fire you can. Indulge yourself. You've earned it.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
I agree. Now, here's the thing. If you start compromising the metal on the back of the ship, I'm going to dismiss you and you'll be trapped in the void.
That does not sound like fun.
Do we have an accord?
I don't know what accord means.
Do we? All right. You get a bunch of fuel. If you keep my ship burning fast, but at a safe temperature, but if you go too hard, if you go nuts, I'm going to kick you out in there, and then you're gone. That's it.
All right, I won't burn your ship. Much.
Yeah, see? How hard was that?
I mean, I can't control all of it. I'm a little hot all over.
I mean, I had noticed. However, if you could just focus in, all right? This is probably the most important thing that you're ever going to do in your entire existence, which is long and potent.
That feels reductionist.
No. It is not reductionist. This is your calling. This is the moment that you have been waiting for.
You must be very important.
Unbelievably so, especially to those of your ilk.
Yay, King Silverhair guy gonna get lunched somewhere. Let's do this.
Yes, let's get... Actually, I am kind of hungry. We could probably stop for lunch on the way. You stick around now, okay?
All right.
All right, I'm gonna hit the full thrust. You just spark it up, okay?
Yep, then we can do this thing. It'll be fun.
Yes, oh boy.
Are you going to use 1, 2, or 3 applications of chaos to engage additional thrusters? One would only be maybe a
2.
few extra. 2? Okay.
2.
That'll
Two?
cut your
Only
cut your
2?
time in half to get to the
Okay,
crew.
only 2.
Give us
What? No,
give us
I
a-
literally okay, Kai, I can't do 3 every episode.
I mean, I think Ben's going soft.
This is when Ben loses another character to the void and explosions. Go ahead and give us a magical roll and avoid a 10 or lower, please.
I am going to turn into a mustache.
Yeah.
Oh, please do.
Oh yeah, there we go. That's a 7. So that's a chaos roll unless you got something.
I have an
up your
ace
sleeve.
left over from a month ago.
Well, you could use that
month-
one.
I'm gonna do it. It's
All right, here we go. Aced it up.
gonna be a 1.
Oh,
There
we
we
got
go,
a
that's what we
19 that time. I don't have to make you roll on the table. So suddenly, a massive explosion goes off behind you, the propulsion of which forcing you forward is literally like being strapped into a extremely high-powered rocket. Give me a tough roll to avoid cracking your own ribs.
I'm good at those. Also, I can crack my ribs. It's all good.
I mean, like literally
I'm
cracking
a
them. Though. That's different.
strong boy.
So you only take 1 wound from the advanced propulsion, and you see little bits and pieces of like what was on the cockpit dash, like flying through the air and bouncing around with you, actually plastered into the back, and some of your clothes, of course, just kind of against the back because you
Poop
still haven't
barrel.
bathed. The poop barrel, and you go launching through the void. You'll now take 2 less weeks to arrive at your friends. All right. From there, we now return one final time to the crew aboard the vessel. Everybody's kind of coming together. This strange passenger that has arrived on board the ship has been a bit quiet, trying to heal and feel better, of course. You've taken a little while to get to know them. And at the moment, Bernie, what are you doing right now in the quiet time while everybody's having kind of a meal and relaxing while they're still traveling? You've had it explained to you that you are in the sea of stars in the sky, not in some sort of hell at this point, and that all of these individuals seem to have just whisked you to a different plane of existence temporarily, maybe permanently. Who knows?
So he's currently praying for his friends to be safe and all right. As he's sitting up in his medical bed, in his hands, he's holding a sort of symbol in his hands and closes his eyes and starts whispering under his breath that he hopes that his friend, that Ulfang will long last. Hopefully he doesn't eat too much or wander too far. And that Strata, in his angry days, doesn't take it out too much on other people until I'm back.
Aw. So everybody sits down and has a meal at this point in time. Alcohol is no longer available, so everybody has to do this sober. There is no drugs anymore, so everybody has to do this sober. And we'll see everybody gathered around the table as Clarion comes out holding a heaping pile of processed food substance.
To be fair, this one is shaped like waffle burgers.
Waffle burgers are handed out to the crew, and all of them taste like styrofoam. But you're hungry, and that's what that is. And as we see them all kind of eating together and kind of dealing with the strangeness that is coming, the scene fades out as we are at the end of our episode for tonight. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed yourselves. We're gonna go around the table, give us our socials and our favorite moments of the evening, and we'll see you all again the week after next. Next week's actually our our off week, so we have so much time between things. But yeah, we'll go at random again and see who starts first tonight. We're gonna go with, this time it is Nora. You're up first tonight.
Just so much time to think about what we've done. Hi, I'm Nora, aka Zedidine, aka Cosmic__Crush on Twitch. You can see me over in that chat. Sometimes I mod it up because Ty is a generous overseer and made me a mod a few weeks ago. I just got a couple new games that I might stream soon. Maybe if I get off my duff. And you can find me in the season finale of Monster Hearts next week. If all goes well and Bees doesn't cancel again.
Misguided Souls next Thursday. We actually have a Pokemon one shot on Tuesday as well. So
yeah, that's exciting too. I'm not in that one though. And yeah, I'm also on Cornfields and Kobolds, where I play Quaylana Firetree, a bard who is dealing with some dragons and making some bargains and saving her mom from evil Fey Lords. And I'm also about to start my own side quest in my own world on Cornfields and Kobolds, and it's gonna be great. Help! I need tutorials on how to make podcasts. Thanks.
Well, best of luck to you. I know all of that is time intensive at the very least. So, but we'll move along from there to Jackal and Conrad. Hey, Jackal, how are you doing this evening?
Hey folks, I'm Jackal. I play Conrad. Back to you guys.
That's it? You don't have a favorite moment from tonight?
I mean, I feel incredibly uneasy with everything that just happened.
I mean, I understand.
Did you want me? Okay. Truth or dare? There. Back.
Truth or dare was your favorite moment. All right. Truth or dare was pretty cool. That was a good choice, Jackal. Move on to Atomic at this point.
Hi everyone, I'm Atomic Zero. You can follow me on Twitter at ttv_Atomic Zero or here on Twitch at twitch.tv/Atomic Zero. TTRPGer as well as a variety streamer. Mostly been spending my time producing Esper Genesis Revelations, which TT Benjamin over there is on that show as well. Takes place on Thursdays, 8 p.m. EST on my Twitch channel. My favorite moment easily was when, oh my god, when the Reverend was confusing the hell out of the representative on the planet. Specifically when they're like, oh my god, are you an alien coming to destroy everything? He's like, Yes, you got me. That's 100% what I am.
I'm an alien. We're not letting you on the world to eat everyone. Jesus. Moving on from there to Benjamin. Your turn.
Hey everybody, I'm Television's Ted Danson. You can find me on such hit shows. Sorry. I'm TT Benjamin. You can find me on Twitter at TTBenjamin01. I'm the host and dungeon master of the Lawful Great Adventures podcast. You should all listen to it. Or I'm calling the police. My favorite moment was when Roland ate the entire planet of Silver Shield. No, I liked the standoff with the God when you were like, oh yeah, there's cogs in that cathedral. I'm like, I know what he's doing. You monster. That was very satisfying to me. They're not the same. Listeners, all right, dear viewer, they're not. All right, one of them is a cult. The other one isn't.
1,000%.
Which is up to you.
No, it's not up to you. No, no.
It's 1,000%. 1,000%. One of them has a real deity. The other one is false.
Yeah.
So, Return of the Still When?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that is the difference.
Okay, look. Here's the deal. It's like it's over the rock, and it's faster on the other side.
No, it's skipping the rock.
No, it doesn't skip the rock. It touches the rock.
That was.
And you have to, when you get knocked out of the boat, you have to lay flat and let the water take you. That's the.
Nope.
I'm gonna fight the machine god. I'm gonna find him.
Oh, so you're admitting that the machine actually has a god.
It's real. Look, he just admitted it's real. He just lost his fight right
Ooh.
there.
Okay,
Once
you
again, we
believe
come
you
to
can
the
fight
theme
it.
of no gods, no masters.
All right,
Exactly.
everyone is invited to my Saturday night stream called No Gods, No Masters, where I eviscerate Ty's cosmology.
Yes.
Apparently, the path actually has no end.
Yes, it's the endless path. It's a looping infinity symbol.
I didn't.
Moving from there to Kai, your turn.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's me, your friend. Let me get comfortable here. Hello, everybody. You know, just your gang star here. You know, playing two characters in one game. It's classic old Kai. We've been hanging out for days now, I understand. Yeah, I'm playing Le Ferine and Bernhard Ladelinvol. Yeah. Get it right. Two characters, one campaign. Anyways, I play on Twitch at Mascane. If I'm not playing Lost Ark, because I've only been doing that for like the past whole month, God stop me. And my favorite part of this session was very early on and rather understated because it's sort of under breath by Jackal there. Very early on with the shield generator stuck within the chest. This whole long formulaic that Conrad has a long plan for most everything. He keeps things trapped there. I wonder if that's like an underpinning to his character beyond only acting as like protecting things he values with the shield generator. And then into later scenes where he is rather safeguarding himself in a lot of ways. I was watching that a whole lot, and I really liked it.
It was a great thing there, Jack.
Conrad is not fine. Conrad is not fine. Conrad is not fine. Conrad is not. Back to you, Ty. Kai. Ty.
Ty, either one of us.
To one of you.
Let me get comfortable here for a moment. On to you, Ty.
All right, we'll move on to Gwen. Your turn.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gwen, also known as McSherry. Normally, you can find me over there in the chat, also modding it up. And you can find me on Twitter at McSherry, where I'm sometimes say things. Who knows? Normally, I'm a sucker for theological discussions, so there were many high points in terms of that. But I think the initial reaction of Conrad to seeing his ex was just chef's kiss.
That was very good. Oh shit. All right, everybody, and I am Not Even Star. You can catch me at Not Even Star on Twitter and Twitch. I do some game streaming on occasion, although it's few and far between now because I'm so busy. But we will be returning tomorrow with the Unremarkables. Check that out at 5 Pacific Standard Time. And then on Tuesday at 6, we'll have our Pokemon one-shot, although it might be 6:15 now that I think about it, because things are delayed. Anyway, check that out. That'll have bees out there and a couple of other individuals in the community doing some crazy stuff there. And then return for Misguided Souls on Thursday at 6, probably 6:15 as well, to see the finale of that wonderful little show that we've had going on for a while. I'm sad. Those are really cool characters. I don't want to see them go. But yeah, that's us. Thank you very much for watching. We're going to go ahead and transfer you all over to transfer. Obviously, you can see what I've done during the day. We're going to raid another group out here in just a moment. So goodbye, everybody.